Fangirl, do I have bad breath?
Um,
Am I a leper? Do I offend everyone?
Do I have to answer these questions?
Yeah, because obviously I do one of these things because no one likes to show up.
I thought she wasn't just sitting next to you.
No,
I
but
was
see,
like, wait, aren't you both on the couch?
something's wrong because even the 3-star Sapphire won't show up anymore. I mean, what's going on here?
Hey,
what am I doing wrong? Tell
Whoa.
me.
I live an hour away, and I am via Skype.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Just if there's something wrong with me, just tell me, okay? You guys don't have to go to extreme lengths to avoid me, all right?
So does that mean there's something wrong with me too? Because I keep showing up.
Well, that just means you like me.
Oh.
Or not. You come for the free booze. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Threading and Dreading.
I do not deny that.
For the booze and the Pringles.
My little
At
gourmet
least it's
table.
not poison Triscuits.
Aren't you funny?
I know it.
So I, once again, am the projectionist, and to my right, and the only person in the room with me tonight is...
Okay, so I'm trying something out here. I'm going to go with the sociopathic fangirl.
the sociopathic fangirl.
I feel like it works.
I think it works.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
It's interchangeable.
I totally dissed Harry Potter
Sometimes you're the sociopath, sometimes you're the extraordinaire. It's interchangeable.
So maybe the sociopathic fangirl extraordinaire.
That's a long title. It's a very long title.
So it just depends on my mood. I'll go with one or the other.
Yeah, if it's the trailers that upset you, offend you, and piss you the hell off, maybe it's the sociopathic fangirl. If it's a good night, if it's ones that really make you happy, you're the fangirl extraordinaire.
Yeah, or I'm just the sociopathic fangirl all the time, and fangirl extraordinaire is just one of my masks.
Ah,
Ooh.
okay. You can go with that too. Whatever works. But good to have you back.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
Good. And joining us via Skype is someone who hasn't joined us for a couple of months now because, again, she is down in what we call slower lower. It is the 3-star Sapphire.
Ayo.
And seeing as you guys are finally back together, 3-star, do you have anything to say to the fangirl?
Well, I made it. I survived. Whatever you did, when it all went dark, I survived.
I will not confirm nor deny that was the plan all along.
Survival or what you did? Because, those are two different things. No comments.
I'm not going to say a word.
Well, something happened.
Something happened.
That's all we need to know. I'll leave it up to everybody's imagination at this point. As we continue.
Let's continue. All good
Moving
things,
on.
all good things.
Yeah, I just showered her with rainbows and unicorns. Of course.
You gave her a shower.
That's what you picked up on, of course.
Yeah, I know, right? Not the rainbows and unicorn. No. The shower.
But to answer you guys' questions, if you're wondering where everyone else is, currently the goddess of gore is in international waters, so she is out of cell phone range, email range.
I miss her.
Yeah, we all miss her. Yeah,
I miss her the most.
yeah. I miss her more than you.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's currently on a cruise with her family. I sadly couldn't go because I just don't have the vacation. It is what it is.
Yeah, and I sadly couldn't go because I wasn't invited.
Yeah, me either. What the hell?
Right?
I've got plenty of vacation.
With the dealings that, either you or the fangirl have, maybe you're wanted in international waters. I don't know.
Again, I cannot confirm or deny that.
She can neither confirm nor deny those accusations.
But yeah, she's currently on a cruise, and Danny sadly had his basement flooded yesterday. He couldn't show up.
Oh, God.
Yeah, we had a monsoon yesterday. That's all I'm going to say. We had a quick little monsoon in our little state, and we got 2.5 inches of rain in about 2-hour span, something like that.
All I know is it scared the crap out of Belle.
Yeah.
Well, Belle hates storms anyways.
Yes.
So you add, I know down here, it was like thunder, lightning. It actually woke me up. It was raining so hard. I was like, Nate, did you get really bad rain last night? He's like, I don't know, I slept through it. I'm like, well, what about thunder and lightning? I don't know, I slept through it. I'm like, it woke me up.
See, my thing is, it's like ASMR for me. It soothes me whenever it's lightning and thundering. Like, I can sleep to that. It scares Kim, but I'll like wake up at the first thunder and then I'm like, and it just relaxes me. I don't know why. Just rain has always relaxed me. Which is probably not a good thing if there's like a tornado bearing down on my house. I'm like,
Aren't those supposed to sound like freight trains?
No, it depends, actually. Sometimes they're loud, sometimes they're extremely quiet. It depends on the storm. If it's one that doesn't have a lot of debris in it, it actually can be near silent. Yeah, so think about that. If it's like the first house and it's going to hit you, you may not even hear it until it's about like 10 feet away.
Wow.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That sucks.
But if it's a bigger one that's already chewed up a bunch of trees and houses, you're going to hear it 5 miles away. So, But how are things down in Slower Lower, 3-star?
They're very good. All my flower beds are doing well. I'm waiting for things to pop up and waiting to plant the rest of my stuff.
Oh my god, this time of year is hell for me.
Allergies.
They kicked in the day the goddess left. Like, I took her to the airport, and the second I'm saying goodbye, I started sneezing my head off. I'm like, oh no! But it's kind of a blessing because now she's not here to hear me bitch and moan about them for a week.
Isn't that what she said? She was just like,
Yes.
I hope that your allergies come just when I leave, and
Yep.
then they're going to be done by the time I get back.
I don't know if they're going to be gone by the time she's back, but they're in full swing right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm popping Zyrtec like chiclets. So.
Yeah, I think she probably like cursed you or something.
That's
for that
probably
to
what.
happen.
Yep.
She's
believe
like,
it.
haha, I'm going tropical and you're getting allergies.
Yep.
Sucker.
Yeah. Suck an egg. But you never heard that
I've
before?
never heard that before.
It's an old phrase. Just go suck an egg, or go suck a railroad spike, or I think I've confused the fangirl.
English is weird.
It's not even English. To raw at you. Oh, the girl who was all 6s and 7s. Now I've really confused her. Anyway, let's move on to the movie news.
It's a good idea. I like that plan.
So, we don't have a whole lot of movie news this week, but there is 2 things I want to touch on. The first one is that Disney has finally finished their casting for the upcoming Beauty and the Beast remake. And the casting today that was announced was that the part of Lumiere is going to be played by Ewan McGregor.
Huh. Nice.
Yeah.
What?
I can see that. I mean, he's
Yeah.
not French, but
He could do it.
he's a big name, and I have faith that he could pull off a role like that.
Yeah.
I mean, at the same time, Lumiere was very, very extravagant. He was flamboyant, and I've never seen Ewan McGregor do that role.
He did a little bit when he was in Moulin Rouge.
Yeah, that's what I was
Oh,
saying.
you know what?
Yeah, he
Fair
was.
enough,
Just all kinds of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moulin Rouge is the exception, although I wouldn't say that was a successful movie, but that's beside the point. But with this casting, I did want to report actually who has been cast in what roles, because since we had announced that they did it, and that they announced that they were going to, remake this movie, and that it was going to be Emma Watson as the lead role as Belle, they hadn't really made an official announcement as to the other roles, and I hadn't really covered them. But almost all of the major roles have been filled, and here's who they are. So again, Emma Watson as Belle. We have Dan Stevens as Beast. We
Dan
have
Stevens.
He's been in a few things recently.
Dan Stevens.
Dan Stevens.
So he was in Downton Abbey.
Yes, that's what I was thinking of.
And he was actually also in The Fifth Estate.
Oh, he was in The Fifth Estate.
I don't think, probably not a huge role
No.
or anything. Anything. Oh, he's going to be, or he was in Adam Sandler's The Cobbler.
Oh,
But
okay.
again, a small, tiny role. Dance club disc jockey.
No.
So nothing huge. But yeah, I think Downton Abbey is probably
That's probably his bigger role.
yeah, where he was Matthew Crawley, so one of the leads.
Okay, fair enough. Also in this, we have Luke Evans as Gaston.
I like Luke Evans.
I do like Luke Evans. And that's interesting casting. I mean, I see it though.
I
can see it too, but I mean, Gaston is like jacked. He's like a ripped guy. I mean, so.
I mean, like,
who
who did you expect? The Rock?
No, not The Rock. I don't know who would I'd expect for that role.
Yeah, but I think he's. Like,
I'm not saying he can't pull off the role.
Right.
I think he could, but we also have.
I think he has the face for it.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
He does have the face for it. We have Josh Gad as LeFou, which is hilarious. I think that's a great casting. We have Ian McKellen as Cogsworth. And holy crap, I love that casting.
Yeah.
That's going to be so much fun. Kevin Kline as Maurice, who is Belle's father. And also Emma Thompson as Mrs. Potts.
Oh,
Nice.
I was like, that's great. I love that. That's really cool.
Now, is this still a musical?
Yes, I was going to get into that in a second. I was just going to say, Angela Lansbury's still alive, isn't she?
If she is really old.
I know. She might not be able to perform the part again, but I would love to see her come back as the role because I loved her as Mrs. Potts.
Yeah,
you
but
know,
Emma Thompson's going to be really good.
Oh, no. Oh, don't get me wrong. Emma Thompson's
If
great.
anybody could replace Angela Lansbury, I think Emma Thompson is a good substitute.
Angela Lansbury is 89.
She's 89. Wow. I'm just saying, just because I'm nostalgic, I would hope they bring her back to do her rendition of Beauty and the Beast again, because I love her version of that song, you know? But that's just me being nostalgic. Emma Thompson is going to be great.
Yes.
Yes, she will be.
Now, they're bringing back the Academy Award winner who wrote the 1991, music, which is Alan Menken. He actually won 2 Academy Awards for that score. Best Original Song and Best Score, I believe. So they're bringing him back. He's actually won 8 Oscars in his time. Mm-hmm. So he's up there, with Hans Zimmer and John Williams. He's one of the greats. They're bringing him in, and he's going to be rewriting the original songs. I mean, it's basically just going to be the originals, as well as a couple new originals for just this movie.
Huh. I'm going to be really excited about that.
As am I. He's going to be writing it himself, along with Sir Tim Rice, who's worked in the industry for a while as well. Like I mentioned before, Bill Condon's going to direct, and the script is going to be penned by Steven Skabonsky. So, about this casting, I like this cast. I think this is a really solid cast. And in fact, the other day, they actually put out, with the exception of Ewan McGregor, because they hadn't gotten him in yet, they had the full cast together for their first day of, reading through the script. Just a quick dry run through.
Like a table
and
read.
they took a big selfie and they all got together. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. And Ian McKellen's just sitting there with all these young people, with the exception of Emma Thompson, and they're looking at him
Emma
like.
Thompson is still relatively young compared to.
Oh, compared to Ian McKellen,
McKellen, right?
yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, compared to everyone else, you have Ian McKellen, who's in his late 70s, I believe. Emma Thompson is in her late 50s or early 60s.
Ian McKellen is 75.
Right.
And then Emma Thompson is
56.
Okay, Emma Thompson is 56.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I mean, but then they look over at the rest of the cast, and it's all these, 20-somethings, 30-somethings, and they're just kind of like, hi. And it's going to be great. This is going to be a really fun movie.
Well, and I'm glad because, Emma Thompson and Emma Watson working together again, that's going to be great because I love the two of them.
With this casting, I'm looking forward to the movie more.
Yeah.
I mean, and I know in past weeks I've been very critical of Disney making these remakes. I still am critical of them, but it appears they're doing this one right. It appears that they've gotten together a very solid cast, and they've gotten, again, back the original composer. They've gotten together a pretty solid team, a solid crew. I think it's going to be decent. I mean, I don't have high hopes for it, but I think it's going to be decent.
I have pretty high hopes for it.
You do?
Yeah, why not?
Well, just because up until this point, there haven't been many good remakes of these Disney's live actions.
But that doesn't mean that this isn't going to be it.
This doesn't mean this isn't going to be the exception to the rule. It could be, and that would be great.
And this is the first one where they've had, this kind of cast, right?
Right. I mean, with past Maleficent, you had one big cast member.
But that wasn't a remake, necessarily.
Yeah, it was a retelling from a different point of view.
Yeah,
right.
so that's a different story.
And even Cinderella had one or two big names in there,
Right,
but not a lot.
but not like this.
Right. This is a star. If you were to put this in any other movie, you'd be like, wow, this is a damn good cast.
Right.
This is like an all-star cast.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, again, compared to the others, I would say, yes, I'm looking forward to this one more than the others. I'm reserving judgment. That's all I'm going to say. I really hope it's good, and I can't say much more.
Yeah.
But they're doing it right. They are
Yeah.
doing it right.
But then again, to be honest, though, I didn't see the new Cinderella remake.
The critical consensus was just, it's all right.
It's okay.
For kids who haven't seen Cinderella before,
Like-
they'd probably enjoy it. For anyone who has seen Cinderella, it's just that. It's just a retelling.
Yeah.
And you didn't need to see it.
Like it just didn't need to be done.
Yeah. It exists. It's a thing.
But I think that in and of itself, because it's a completely different medium too, right? So
I mean, they try. From what I've been told, they try to give more character development to the evil stepmother and to the prince. Who was basically just
well, he was Prince Charming.
He was
that
eye
it.
candy.
he was
Yeah.
eye candy in the first, but he did
Yeah.
nothing. He had like 3 lines.
Yeah.
So, and they got Rob Stark to be the prince, makes me say, I'm afraid for that wedding. Anyway, moving into the last bit of news and our favorite section, the Reboot Corner.
Reboot corner.
The one corner we don't want to sit in. But this one is a rather obscure one that I don't even know if the Goddess of Gore has seen this one. I have, but I've only seen it once, and it was a while ago. But the team who made The Conjuring, which is James Wan's team, is going to be taking on a remake of The Entity. Now, have either of you heard of The Entity?
No.
My point exactly. This is a rather obscure horror film from I think it was the early 80s. It was made in 82. Yeah. And I loved this horror film growing up. I thought it was great. It was kind of like an alternate version of Poltergeist, but they had a lot less of a budget, and they told a far creepier, far more surreal story. Like Poltergeist, as great as it was with the effects that it had, you can tell that it was in a world where, how these demons interact with people, and children going missing in a phantom zone. It's a very, very odd world they live in. This was a real world scenario. Like, oh my God, you could see you could see this happening to any family.
Right.
And it was far creepier for it. And what happened to the family and what this poor mother is exposed to in this movie. But I just did a rundown of what the movie was, because it was actually based off a 1974 novel, which was based around true accounts. Now, people say, like the Amityville Horror was based around true accounts, but a lot of that stuff was fabricated.
Right.
So we don't know how much of this was true.
When they say based on true accounts, it could be,
Yeah.
like just a tiny, tiny little bit that was
Right.
actually based on it, and everything else was just an exaggeration.
Exactly. It's like the tagline, inspired by true events.
Right.
When, a book on a shelf could inspire you to write something completely different.
Right.
Oh, it was inspired by true events. I looked at a book on the wall.
Exactly. Right.
But anyway, so the plot summary for the original film was Carlotta Morin, a young single mother with 3 children, suddenly has her life turned upside down when she begins to be attacked in her bed each night. These brutal, unseen forces make an attempt on her life and terrorize her children, but the worst part is that no one believes her. Among the skeptics is psychiatric Dr. Snitterman, who believes Carlotta is psychotic, a danger to herself and her children, and should be committed. But 2 graduate students with parapsychology degrees and have a different theory. They believe that Carlotta is being tormented by a powerful entity from beyond our reality, outside space and time. The tension builds up to an electrifying conclusion, and the truth may be far more frightening than any of them have ever imagined. So, the effects for this movie were cheap, but they still looked great for their time. Something like Poltergeist, which to this day, some of the effects still look stellar. Same with The Entity. Like, what happens to this woman and what she goes through. Like, I still don't know to this day how they pulled off some of these effects.
Right.
It's like, holy shit. And not only because of her performance, because she gave a stellar performance, but just some of the horrific things that are happening with her family and her kids and what they have to see happening to her. It's like, oh my God. And you can't remake this. And because here's the thing. There are things that happen in this film that you can't show today.
Right.
And like where we talked about Dumbo. It would be like remaking Dumbo and keeping the racist crows in it. You couldn't fucking do it.
Right.
You'd have to cut it. With
Yeah,
this,
but I love those crows.
well, they're racist. I'm sorry.
I know, but they roll with it. They fit. They move it along.
Okay, that's great. That's fine. They're not going to put them in the new movie.
Or at least they're going to change the way that they're portrayed.
Right.
See, that's why Mel Brooks needs to do it, because he will just offend everybody, and so nobody can be offended.
No, they'll change them. Now they'll be Middle Eastern stereotypes. But anyway.
God.
Great.
Oh, God. But, I mean, not to get into sensitive topics here. I don't want to. But the Entity involved several scenes of rape. Mm-hmm. These beings, or demons, if you want to call them, violating this woman.
Right.
And graphically doing so. You don't see anything per se, but it's violent and it's terrible. And I mean, at one point, the kids are even exposed to it. They see their mother exposed to this.
That's awful.
It's awful.
Yeah.
You cannot do this now. It's 30 years later. You couldn't put this on film. And if you did, it'd be something like a Serbian film. It would be really out there.
Right. Like, see, the thing is, though, when you're talking about this movie, the first thing that I've imagined, basically, is like casting someone like Halle Berry or Jennifer Lopez, because, you know, she's done a couple of movies where, like,
yeah, enough. And
right. And like, for some reason, I see them casting somebody like that, like, kind of, you know, that has that, I don't know, like Jennifer Lopez is trying to break out of her pop singer kind of, and
her image,
right. When she does movies and stuff. Mm-hmm. So, I kind of see that kind of casting and it being a really shitty movie.
That's all I see coming from this, a shitty remake.
Yeah. Because
they're either going to really, really water down those scenes to the point that you even can't tell what's going on.
Right.
Or
like, and like, you know, doing it like directorially, is that even a word?
Yeah, we'll say it is.
It is now.
Yeah.
But kind of like, you know, making it really like artsy, kind of, you know, trying to make it. I don't know. Like, there's just this. I have this image in my head,
or even
of what
like try to infer that something like that is happening,
right?
But not necessarily. Oh well, maybe it happened. We don't know. It's like no, like either we know or we don't. You know, and if you're going to remake this movie with as brutal as it was back then, I think you have to make it as such today.
Right.
It would be impossible to do so.
Right.
It would have to be rated R. And
well, I mean, it would be rated.
It would be rated R. And
probably like NC-17 or whatever.
No, it wouldn't be NC-17. If it was NC-17, it would basically be pornographic, and even the original never went that far.
Right.
Oh, okay.
But it would be a rated R remake, and it wouldn't make money. It would have to be, like, remakes like this, horror films like this, they had to be PG-13 to get their audience in, to make their money. So unless the filmmaker, James Wan, and his guys who made The Conjuring, unless they decide to just go all out and really dedicate themselves to doing justice to this remake, it's not going to make its money back. If they stay true to their craft and say, we want to be faithful to the original, it's not going to make its money. And if they water it down and make it PG-13, it'll make its money back, but it's going to be a piece of shit. So basically, there's no winning in this. So why do it? That's my thought. Why do this? This is one of those that I just feel you just shouldn't touch.
Right.
You know? And not to say that there are films in Hollywood that are sacred, and well, I think there's some that are sacred. You know, be remaking Shawshank Redemption or remaking Citizen Kane. You don't touch them. I mean, I'm not to say the Entity is on that caliber. It's not. No. But it dealt with themes, and it showed things that you simply cannot remake now in our society. I mean, let me give you a good example. and I know you say I talk about the movie too much, The Evil,
Evil
Dead.
Dead.
And let's talk, okay, the remake. Okay, when they remade it, the one scene, that brutal scene
The
of...
tree scene.
Yeah, they didn't do it because you couldn't do it today. Now, they did something similar to show, basically the same thing happening, but it was different. You couldn't show that scene again for obvious reasons. Today, you'd be run out of the theater for it,
Right.
Same thing happens with The Entity. You couldn't do this type of movie today. I'm sorry, that's just the way cinema is. And if you did do it, it'd be rated R, and you wouldn't make your money back. Now, if you want to make that film, that's great. If that's the story you want to tell, and have it be that brutal and honest, you go ahead and do that. I think that's great. Power to you. But you're not going to make money on it. No studio will pick that up. It's just the way our society is. So,
And I think we should clarify that there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. It's just the way in which the images of women and the images of, femininity and kind of how everything has evolved.
oh, right.
And I don't think we should say, well, we can't do it anymore, and that's like a bad thing necessarily.
No. And that's not even to say you cannot do it. You still can do it.
Right.
If there's a message you have by showing that, if there's a reason for showing that,
Right.
then do it. But there has to be a reason for it.
Right.
I mean, with these films, the reason they were in there was to show the brutality of it and the honest brutality of these scenes and just how vile and disturbing they were.
Well,
and they worked. But even today, to do that, you'd have to say you need more of a reason for it, because now it's not original. Now it's violence for the sake of violence, basically.
Yeah, and I think there's also a very fine line between, violence and understanding rape as violence and understanding rape as anything else, because rape is violence and it's about control and domination.
Right.
So, and I understand that concept as what it is.
Right.
But with kind of the way that we see things today, are we going to be able to separate that idea from the sexuality of it as well?
Exactly. And it's for reasons like that I feel this remake is ultimately just doomed to fail. I love the original. I really do. I thought for its time it was creative. They had very little budget. They did what they could. They tried to stay as faithful to the original story as they could, as honest as they could, and made a phenomenally creepy, dark, and terrifying film.
Right.
And I respect it for that, and I love it for that. But you couldn't do it now. You just can't do it. You either water it down and the fans are going to hate it, or you make it faithful to the original product and you don't make your money back and the studio hates you for it. So this is almost doomed from the beginning. And I'll have to say that James Wan and his Conjuring crew, do something else. Please, do something else. Now, to take it back to The Conjuring. Now, you didn't see The Conjuring, did you?
What do you think? Guess.
No, you did.
No, I did not see that movie.
Kim and I saw it, The Conjuring. I thought it was good, but it wasn't phenomenal. It was better than most horror films that come out as of late. If they do The Entity in the same style as The Conjuring, I don't know. It's just going to be a lot of jump scares. And not to say The Conjuring had a lot of jump scares, but I just don't see that style working with this kind of movie. The Entity had very little jump scares. That's what made it great. It was just disturbing.
And it messed with your mind.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think, personally, those are the best types of horror films.
Those are the horror films that stay with you.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, just that thought lingering in the back of your mind.
Absolutely. So I don't see this crew or this director, and I like James Wan. I do. I just don't see them bringing anything original to The Entity. I don't see why this has to be remade.
Well, just like most things, it's just like, why do they really need to be remade? I think that's the question we ask every time we go
bring
into
in the
this.
Reboot Corner.
Yes.
And we talk about horror film remakes a lot, and banking on the name or the nostalgia of Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street or Texas Chainsaw Massacre. These are names that everyone knows. Even if you're not into horror, you know these names.
Yes.
I mentioned The Entity to you guys. Neither of you knew what it was.
Nope.
So...
And maybe that's also the point of it is
because no one knows.
Exactly.
So therefore,
a remake would seem original even though it's not.
right.
That's probably what they're banking on.
The idea is, oh, well, we can make this and no one really knows that it's a remake.
Right.
But for hardcore fans like me and The Goddess and others who love horror films, are going to look at this and say, I'm sorry, we're judging this compared to the original.
Right,
We
but-
just have to.
But the thing is, you would still want to see it so you could judge it, right?
Because
that's what you always say,
Therein
like-
lies the problem.
Exactly.
Yes.
So
So they're going to get your money either way, at which point,
Exactly.
you know what, I might hold off and see what the critical response is. I mean, I myself am a critic, so I should go see it myself, but I don't want to pay for it. I don't
Go
want to
on
give them,
Tuesdays.
I don't want to give them my money unless I know it's good.
Go
so
on
it's
Tuesdays.
a double-edged sword. But 3-star, any thoughts?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm really picky about my horror movies.
I know. They have to either be sillier and over the top or what? What would you say is your niche?
They have to have something about them that draws me in.
yes,
Like something visual. Usually it's something very visual that draws me in. Like either is something about the story is just like, oh, I gotta see it. And if I don't get that, I'm like, I'm okay without it.
Your style is Army of Darkness.
Yeah.
We're going to get into our trailers. And
Woohoo!
the first one we have tonight is Every Secret Thing.
Why don't you tell me where you were yesterday?
You're not a mother, are you?
Where were you when Brittany went missing? Why don't you do your job?
You and Ronnie were friends, right?
She didn't do nothing.
Something's not right here. Where is she?
I have no idea.
I know something I'm not supposed to know.
Are you gonna cuff me?
This movie is actually based off a 2004 crime novel of the same name. I haven't read it, but it apparently is quite popular. This director is Amy Berg, and she's only done documentaries up until this point. But she
that's
did,
interesting.
yeah. The one film that has made her notable was a film in 2006 called Deliver Us from Evil, which wasn't the actual film that came out a couple years ago. If you recall, we talked about a movie called Deliver Us from Evil. Not the same movie. This one was actually nominated for an Academy Award back in 2006.
Okay.
And it dealt with, well, very dark topics about abuse in the Catholic Church. But it was nominated for an Academy Award. Didn't win, but that's how she's gotten her notoriety. And she's done only documentaries since then. But this is her first,
Film.
not film, but it's her first a narrative, her first narrative.
Yeah.
In this, we do have Diane Lane. We also have Elizabeth Banks. We have Dakota Fanning, who is, I guess you can now say, is past child actress stage. We have Nate Parker, who is from Red Tails and Nonstop. Not really a notable guy, but he's been in a lot. And I did want to talk about the tagline for this movie. They're putting it in the posters and in the trailer, which is, "Don't look away even for a second." Looking at how the movie was filmed and like the grayscale and just the overall cinematography, I would say this is hinting a lot at movies like Prisoners and Gone Girl. Like it's almost the exact same style. We're not, dulling up our actors. They look like hardly any of them are wearing makeup. Like it's real world filming, and it looks like it's practical. And it's it's almost like it's becoming its own art form, this type of movie making. We see it a lot. You see it a lot in David Fincher, yeah, I forgot his name for a second. You see it in a lot of his films.
Right.
But it's now becoming far more popular. And a lot of directors are catching on to it. And I think this is very much pulling from that style.
Right.
That being said, the premise of this is that you have these two girls. I don't know those actresses' names, but it's a young Dakota Fanning and whoever the other girl is. I
Right.
don't know her name. But when they're younger, they apparently kidnap a baby.
Yeah.
It was hard to tell what happened at first. Like, they
Yeah.
just decided, oh, there's a baby in a carriage.
We're gonna take it.
Let's take it.
Yeah, we're gonna take this baby and like kill it.
Yeah.
I don't know if
we don't know what actually happened.
we don't know what happens to the baby. I don't think they killed the baby.
They
Yeah, like goes away.
They just say, "Oh, we're gonna take the baby."
And then it was like missing, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
or something. I don't know what happens.
Or did the baby and the girls go missing? I couldn't really tell.
I don't know. It's not really explained in the trailer.
No, the girls end up going to prison for whatever happens. Girls go to prison because then they get out of prison.
Right.
Yeah.
Which makes me think maybe the baby did die. Because if they had just given back the baby and they were that young, they probably wouldn't have gone to juvie for that.
For that long, at least.
For that long.
Yeah.
Exactly. So maybe they committed a crime that was
Of some
that
sort.
severe.
Yeah.
And now they had to be in juvie for that long and are now getting out.
Right.
And now then they get out. Now all of a sudden another baby's gone missing.
Right.
And of course they're the first ones who are pinged for it.
Right.
And they're sitting there denying up and down that they're in any way involved, but they're saying, "Oh, well, you're not going to believe us no matter what.
Right.
So what's the point?" And Diane Lane is the mother of one of the girls.
I think.
Was it Dakota Fanning?
No, it was
I don't
the
know.
chunky one, I think.
It was
The
the,
other one?
the chunky one.
Don't judge, all right? I don't know their names.
Something McDonald was that? Or
Yeah.
something? I
It started with a D.
Yeah.
Something McDonald.
I think it was.
Nah, but I haven't seen her in anything.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I
but
think she's a relatively new actress.
she is. Yeah. Yeah. So they of course ping them immediately, and I think Elizabeth Banks is a detective.
Yeah, some kind of investigator.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know how I feel about this one. I mean, it looks interesting, but then when you have a tagline like "Don't look away even for a second," it tells me you're really trying to pull in that Gone Girl audience, where it's the mystery that plays out the entire film, and there's going to be a lot of twists and turns, and
Right.
you really
gotta
don't
pay
know what it
attention.
is until the very end.
And it plays to both that aspect of it, but also the whole idea where the mother, because she said, I just looked like, I just put, like, I was gone for like 2 seconds. Like, she was saying how she was gone for a little bit, and then the baby was gone.
Right.
So it was kind of like a double meaning type thing, I think.
Yeah,
where,
that's possible too. Yeah.
like, don't ever leave your children unattended, people.
True.
Good rule of thumb.
Because
Good rule of thumb.
somebody is going to take them.
Yeah.
Because the dingo will take it. Sorry. Had to. 3-star, any thoughts?
I thought it was kind of weird and just kind of all along the lines of, first of all, I was like, what the hell's going on? Like, I had to rewatch it. I was like, wait, what? Huh? And I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of like screwed up baby killer stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we can all get into screwed up baby killer stuff.
Yeah.
Because, like,
I have a cute little nephew now. I don't want baby killers.
Because what it reminded me of when I first saw it, I actually thought it was, hold on. I don't know how I know this, but Mary Bell is the name of, she was a child serial killer where I think at the age of 13, she strangled two little boys in Great Britain at
What the
some
hell?
point. The thing is, it was said that she probably committed the crimes alone, but she had help luring the boys away. That's why, like, I was just like, is this about that? But I guess it's not, because I don't think it's
that's a good thing to bring up. Maybe they're pulling themes from that.
right.
It could.
Yeah. So and I think that she was also not in, like, she was in kind of a juvenile detention
So
center.
she was young.
She was 13,
Oh, okay.
I think.
So it could be there. They are pulling themes from this. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. No, I'm wrong. She was 11 when she was convicted of killing the 2
gosh.
boys.
Wow.
So yeah. Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah, that's really young.
But yeah, you could be right. Maybe they are pulling from
Yeah.
themes of that. That's,
and yeah, so
that's very
she,
possible.
Yeah, she had a friend, and
Now, wait, the novel was written in 2004.
Yeah.
So when did that happen?
like 1968.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Maybe even the novel even pulled from something like that.
Exactly.
Okay, so,
So-
that's a good point. Thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I have to think. This only comes out in I think 3 or 4 weeks.
Right.
So we've seen very little advertising for this. I
Yeah.
think I've seen like one trailer for it in the theaters. So they're not doing a whole lot of advertising for it.
Right.
But, it's probably a low budget film. They're not probably going to get a nationwide release. It might make its money back, but
right.
I don't know if I'm going to go out of my way to see this.
I don't think I will either. I think if it was actually about Mary Bell, if it was that story,
Okay.
I would be interested in it just because, like,
It's an infamous story.
it is.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but because this is based off of, a novel and I might go and read the book. But at the same time, I don't think that the trailer really drew me in any way. Like, I was just kind of like, okay. Like, I felt like it was mediocre at best.
Mediocre. Okay. And that's a fair assessment. 3-star?
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling it. I don't think I'd go see it. It just was like, eh.
I think all of us can agree it's very meh.
Yeah.
Meh.
And that's fine. I mean, I hope it does well. It's a decent director, a fairly solid cast.
Mm-hmm.
It's, I don't know. I have to see more until I pass judgment.
Yeah.
We'll probably talk about it again by the next one. It'll be our feature presentation by the
Yeah.
next time we record. So we'll discuss it more then. Maybe we'll see more previews. We'll discuss it more. But moving on to our next trailer, which is Survivor.
What are you hearing, Sally?
According to first responders, it was a bomb.
How many? 4 of yours and 5 passers-by.
Has anyone claimed responsibility?
We found this.
Do you think she's dead?
We can't find her.
The bomb has traces of chromium.
We haven't seen that since
Paris.
a watchmaker.
Abbott's still alive. I understand.
I have no choice.
Here is one where we go from, not really knowing what was happening in the first trailer to this, where initially we know what's going on, to have no idea what's going on. Holy
That's exactly
shit.
how I felt. I was
This
like, oh
trailer
my God.
is so busy. Oh my god, like, slow down.
Like, let people catch their breath after you do something.
Oh my god. It's almost like, how a couple weeks ago we talked about Aurora, where you had no idea what was happening to
Because
this.
it was so because it was so slow.
Because it was so slow, and it told you nothing. Here, they tell you everything, and you still don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
But let's get into the finer points of this. The director of this is James McTeague. Now, he's been the assistant director on a lot of films. I think he was the assistant director on The Matrix and a couple other early films in the mid-90s. But he has directed several. He directed V for Vendetta, which is
nice.
actually one of my favorite films from
Remember
Actually,
the
just watched it
5th of
last night.
November.
November 5th of November. Fangirl's birthday. He also directed Ninja Assassin, which wasn't a very good film. He also directed The Raven, which was a very, very weird film with John Cusack playing Edgar Allan Poe. Very weird. Came out in 2012, and it tried to make Edgar Allan Poe like a detective.
That's really weird.
It was really weird. This is a decent director, but he's only really had one big success, which was V for Vendetta. Which even that, it was good, but the writer of that, which was Frank Miller, even he said that it wasn't faithful to his original graphic novel. So take that for what it's worth. In this, we have Mila Jovovich, who is still one of my favorite actresses in Hollywood. I really like her. I mean, I know some people are wishy-washy on her, but ever since Fifth Element, she's been one of my favorites. She is so adorable in Fifth Element. She's
Lily
so
Dallas
cute.
Multipass.
Oh my god. One of my favorite movies, and she's adorable in it. And anyway, we also have Pierce Brosnan. We have Dylan McDermott. We again have Emma Thompson.
Yeah.
And we also have Angela Bassett. Now, I don't know if we saw Angela Bassett in the trailer, did we?
I can't remember.
I don't think we did.
But
I don't even remember seeing Emma Thompson.
No, but she's in this.
Yeah. So that's why I was just like when I saw that I was just like, "What? She's in this?"
Mm-hmm. Last week we had Trailer 101 for Aurora. Now we're going to Trailer 201, where we talk about how not to do the trailer when you have way too much information in your movie. So, making a trailer for something like this, where there's a lot going on, what you need to do is build up the mystery of your initial premise. If a lot happens later, that's okay. Leave that for a mystery for the film.
Yeah.
And you can hint at that in the trailer, but you can't give out all that information at one time, because you're going to have the people looking at your trailer saying, what the hell just happened? You had the initial premise of, this guy called the Watchmaker? Is that his name?
The Watchmaker.
This assassin and this terrorist, I'd call him a terrorist, blows up some sort of cafe or something in London, I believe. And then it realized he was really only trying to kill one person.
Right.
Milla Jovovich. And she takes off, and he's basically hunting her down.
Right.
For some information, for some reason. But from that point on, it dives into her, hacking computers and outrunning other people.
Right. And
I'm
then,
like,
her being framed for stuff.
right. And I'm like, okay, whoa, movie, stop, time out. You had me at, she has some information, and she needs to die.
Right.
Okay, fine.
And-
if you want to add one more thing in there, like maybe her being framed, that's okay too. But then you're adding her all of a sudden wielding a gun, and now she's fighting back, and now she's hacking computers.
Right.
And then you have other characters doing other shit around her. Like, whoa, stop!
Yeah.
Stop! Slow down!
Right.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe this movie's just way too busy. Maybe there's way too much going on for its own good.
Possibly, or the trailer is just misleading. I feel like what it is probably there's some kind of corruption within the government ranks, and they hired kind of an assassin, which is Pierce Brosnan's The Watchmaker, to assassinate this one person who has certain information about some kind of government agency that that she's got information on. And I think that's what it is, and that's why she's being framed for everything. So
okay,
it's and
you can infer that from the trailer. I think that's probably close. But if someone were to come up and say, I had no idea what this was about, I'd be like, oh yeah, sure, I'm right with you. I mean, because you just don't know.
Right.
And it's impossible to infer. Now, a trailer doesn't have to give you all the information.
No.
It doesn't have to. But you should get a general gist of why I should want to see this.
Right.
And if it's too busy, if there's too much going on, I don't want to see your damn movie.
Right. and I think the selling point for this movie, though, I think the reason why it became too busy was that they wanted to shove Pierce Brosnan's face on the thing, like
as
over
much
and over
as
again.
they could.
Exactly. Right. And the thing is, he may or may not be, I mean, I'm sure he's crucial to the plot and everything, but I feel like his character might not
be on screen as much.
Exactly.
That's a fair point. That's been happening a lot recently. I'll give you two good examples. First one was a shitty movie, but Battleship. In the marketing, they showed Liam Neeson all the time.
Right.
When he was
Yeah,
only
that's all they showed.
Yeah. He was only in about 5 minutes of the movie. I shit you
Was
not.
he really in 5 minutes?
About 5 or 6 minutes. He went in, he did like 7 or 8 lines, got his paycheck, and got off set. That's all he did.
Yeah.
But they were shoving him in every single trailer. Like, he was the selling point. Because, like, oh yeah, wait a minute. Rihanna can't act. Shit. Okay, plug up Liam Neeson as much as you can.
Right.
Do him. Show him.
But another
Bring them in. Lure them in.
Another recent example was Godzilla. In the advertising for that, Bryan Cranston was in all of the advertising.
Right.
And people don't realize he's only in like the first third of the movie.
Huh.
Yeah. And then he just disappears.
That's odd.
Well, I don't want to spoil anything.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I'm not going to say.
He disappears for a
He's
reason.
probably dead or in a coma.
Oh, I don't want to say.
Well, I don't know. I've never seen it. I'm just guessing.
Yeah, well.
Why else would he be gone for the 2/3 of the film?
He becomes Godzilla?
I like that. I would watch that. Bryan Cranston as Godzilla, I would watch.
Say my name. But, yeah, so they advertised him all the time in the original press. And in all the trailers, you kept seeing him. And he's only in about 30, 40 minutes of the movie. Maybe 30, I'd say. Mm-hmm. And, it's a 2.5 hour film.
Right.
Huh? Why did he get top billing if he's only in it for that long?
Right.
But yeah, and you could be right. Maybe it's a case where Pierce Brosnan in this is only maybe in 10, 15 minutes of footage,
Yeah.
and they're just really trying to put his name out there because he's a big selling point.
And the thing is, I can see why they're doing that because, damn, he looks good in this trailer.
He does.
Like, he looks amazing. Like, I
Is the fangirl coming out to play?
yeah.
Here she comes.
Like, oh my God. Like, when he was James Bond, he was pretty hot. And, I'll give him that. And, I was all over that. But and now that he's gotten a little bit older, I'm like, damn.
He's well, and again, I
Aging well.
I can't speak for women, but it's probably that Harrison Ford hot. Like, even when he ages and he's even graying a bit, you're like, no, I'd still fuck that.
Oh, yeah. Like, he looks amazing in this film. I would see it. I mean, so I think they did something right, considering I think I would see this movie because of Pierce Brosnan.
Just him.
Yes.
Okay.
So
that's your selling point.
Yeah,
they
there
got
you go. They got me.
3-star. Can you attest to that as well?
Maybe. He's pretty handsome still.
Yeah.
He's quite handsome.
I don't think anyone is saying that Pierce Brosnan is ugly.
He's definitely like eye candy for the movie to go possibly see it.
Yeah. And I mean, Mila Jovovich, I think she just turned 40.
No.
Yeah.
She looks like
way.
she's 27. Actually, everybody looks like they're 27 to me, so it doesn't, that.
Do I look like I'm 27?
No, you look like you're 80.
Right.
It's that DMV at age, dude.
Yeah, I know. Every month in the DMV ages you a year. So I'm really internally I'm like 54 by this point. Yeah. But no, she still looks good for 40.
She looks good for any
She
age.
looks awesome for 40.
I don't know. I mean, well, for one, I don't know if she's still continuing her Resident Evil series. She shouldn't. That series needs to go away. But
And I still watch every single one.
I know you
on
do.
TV.
That is your pleasure. You watch all those films. I don't know how you can. I gave up after the first one. I was done after that point.
I just love my girl.
But as far as this goes, I'm not sold on this. I'm not sold on this just yet. I know you're sold.
Well, I'm sold. I'm sold on Pierce Brosnan.
Right.
I don't think I'm sold for the
I'm
movie.
with the fangirl.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you the same way like you were sold with Denzel in The Equalizer? Kind of the same way?
Kind of. But then that one was, I knew that was about Denzel, basically.
Right.
So I needed to go
But
see
you also
that.
knew what The Equalizer was about. They
Yes.
advertised that well.
Yes.
Right. And despite the fact that there were a couple twists and turns in the middle, it explained itself
Yeah.
well.
And I
this
thought it
movie
was
didn't
good.
do that.
Yeah.
Or this
Exactly.
trailer didn't, I should say.
Exactly.
This movie threw everything at you all at once, so you had no idea what you're
Right.
watching.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know. I like the one we just talked about. I'm reserving judgment on this one.
Yeah, me
it
too.
has a lot of promise to it. The original premise, what we revealed in like the first 30 seconds of the teaser, I think looks promising. But there's just so much going on that it could become a muddled mess in a hurry. So
But I do have to say, I don't like Dylan McDermott.
you don't?
I don't know why. There's something about him.
Well,
I don't know what it
I
is.
haven't seen him in a whole lot. I liked him in the first 2 seasons of American Horror
Yeah.
Story, and he was
Okay.
fantastic in that.
Okay, because mostly what I've seen him in is other trailers for things. So I haven't actually seen him in much. But like
Okay.
every time I see
He's
him,
just
like,
your trailer guy.
like,
I
I'm
always
just
see you in
like-
trailers. I don't
I'm
like
just
you.
I don't really want to see this movie. Like it's not doing anything for me because.
All right, fair enough. Well, moving on to something that I am highly anticipating, which is Sinister 2.
Do you believe in evil? Something otherworldly?
Yes. You don't stop evil. You can only protect yourself from it.
I'm worried about Dylan.
Why?
He's just different.
I have something to show you.
There are references to Bagul across all cultures. Some believe that it fed off of the corruption of innocence.
Oh boy! So
I'm really sad that the goddess,
isn't here for this one. I know. We may
Yeah,
revisit
this is
this
totally
one.
her cup of tea.
Yeah, we may revisit this one before it comes out. But yeah, her and I saw the first Sinister, and I'm actually sad that Straight Paul didn't show up as well because he saw the first one. He could talk about it. 3-star. Did you see Sinister?
Nope.
Oh, so I'm the only one who's seen it.
I do apologize.
No, that's not your fault. It's okay.
Sorry.
For my
It's okay.
being scared of scary movies.
You don't have to apologize for seeing a film that would make you shit your pants. It's okay. You don't have to apologize for that. But I'm going to say, the first Sinister, I thought it was pretty solid. I mean, it's gotten knocked back and forth for the last few years.
That's the one with Ethan Hawke, right?
Yes, it is. Of the horror films that come out nowadays, I would say it's one of the better horror films of the last, 5 or 6 years. There's just a lot of crap coming out in American horror. And for this being an American horror film, I think it was damn good. And it did what it needed to do. And despite the fact that there were jump scares, they were fucking effective jump scares.
Right.
It wasn't like, looking in a mirror and scaring yourself, or a cat jumping around a corner, or, a door slamming somewhere. It was legitimate shit scaring you. And I thought the premise was pretty solid as well. Mm-hmm. And here's something I explained to people. The first Sinister is actually the first real found footage film. It's about a guy, Ethan Hawke, who finds a bunch of films and then splices them together to see what happened, to unravel this mystery. So it's actually about a guy finding footage. So, with other found footage films, Blair Witch, Paranormal Activity, Cloverfield, whatever, you're always asking, who put these together?
Right.
Like, who put this stuff together to show us?
Right.
And Sinister was the first film that said, here's the guy who made it. Here he is, and you're watching it with him. Which I thought was clever.
Yeah.
I thought that was really clever of the movie. Now, returning for this it's going to be written by Scott Dickerson and the guy who I love to plug all the time, C. Robert Cargill. He wrote the original Sinister, and he is one of the original critics from Spill.com.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Mm-hmm. He's gotten moderate amount of success recently. He now has a series of books coming out called Dreams and Shadows. I have the first 2 in the series. They're quite good. He's going to be writing the upcoming Deus movie. Now, Deus is a popular video game series, which dives into a near future with people enhancing their bodies with cybernetics and turning into cyborg, not real cyborgs, but
right.
the
elements of it.
Yeah, and the philosophies and kind of the problems that come with that kind of world.
Right.
And he's going to be penning the screenplay for that. So I'm excited for that. There's the stereotype of video game movies, and they're all awful, but hopefully this will be a successful one. And he is going to be co-writing this one. So I'm really happy that he's getting more work. Right. And again, I thought the first Sinister had a pretty solid story.
Right.
So hopefully they can bring that again to this.
Yeah.
The director of this is going to be, it's either Carrion or Sarian. How do you pronounce that?
Let me see if I can look it up.
Mr. Foy. We'll call him Mr. Foy.
That sounds good. Yeah.
He has actually not directed a whole lot. He directed a film back in 2012 called The Citadel, and that's been his only major release. Everything else has been short films. So I haven't seen The Citadel. I haven't heard positive things either way for it, either positive or negative, but hopefully he's a decent director. In this, we have, God, I can't pronounce her name.
Shannon.
Is that how I pronounce it? Shannon?
Shannon.
With a Y?
S-H.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know you could spell Shannon like that.
Yeah, Shannon Sasama. I can't say it. Shannon, though, her first name.
I call her Shannon Sossaman.
Oh, maybe.
Shannon Sossaman, yeah.
I have no idea.
All right,
but Kieran, yeah.
Kieran, okay. Kieran Foy, okay. Sorry about that, guys. The director is Kieran Foy. Ugh, gosh, what a hell of a name.
I think it's like Irish or something.
Possibly. But in this, we have Shannon Sossaman, who has been in a lot in the early 2000s. Yes. I mean, that's where she started her career, and it was in 5 or 6 films a year. She was in A Knight's Tale, 40 Days and Nights, or 40 Days and 40 Nights, Rules of Attraction, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, One Last Call. I mean, she was in a lot in the early mid-2000s, but not so much recently.
No.
I mean, I can't recall the last thing she was in since maybe 2007, 2008.
The only thing I remember is A Knight's Tale.
Right. So. And I think that was her real first starring role.
Right, yeah.
I'm almost certain it was. And she's an okay actress. I mean,
I'm not the biggest fan.
neither am I. I mean, I'm very torn about her because she gives a solid performance occasionally, but she apparently has a terrible agent because she gets picked up for pretty crappy films. But I don't know. I'm torn on her.
She was in Kisses Bang Bang, which
Yes.
again was an amazing.
Oh,
movie.
that was a great film. That was one of the few exceptions to the rule.
Yeah.
We also have in this guy returning from the original film, which is James Ranson. Now, he was an Inside Man, and recently he was in Cymbeline.
Okay.
We talked about that a couple weeks ago. But in the original, he played Deputy So-and-so. That's his actual name in the movie, Deputy So-and-so. Now, this is a little in-joke that C. Robert Cargill has. And the joke is, and this was in the original Sinister, the deputy knows that Ethan Hawke's character is a very famous writer.
Right.
And he's written a lot of like detective books and crime novels and stuff like that. As he's researching this mystery into what's happening in this movie, the deputy says to him, well, you know how in certain books they always have a person that the writer thanks for getting them inside information for this and that,
Right.
like a deputy so-and-so. And Ethan Hawke's like, yeah? He's like, could I be your deputy so-and-so? He's like, oh, can you get me some information? He's like, yeah. He's like, okay. And now, if you go and read any of Cargill's books, in the acknowledgments, it says, and the last one is always, also I want to thank the tireless efforts of Deputy So-and-so, whose endless contributions could not have led to this book.
That's funny.
It's every single book he has that now. I'm like, that's a cool little reference.
Yeah.
So there's always going to be Deputy So-and-so.
Like, nice.
So that character's returning to this. Now, he wasn't a pivotal character in the original, but with what happened towards the end of the first Sinister, you know why he'd have to be in this.
Right.
Now, I do have to say, this trailer is very spoiler heavy.
Yeah.
Because if you haven't seen the original Sinister, you now know what happens in it.
Not really.
Well, if you look at the newspaper clipping of the family, of Ethan Hawke's family, you know what happens. Quick spoilers, guys, just to let you know.
Spoiler alert, spoiler alert.
So, in Sinister, the theme is the demon Bagul. He kind of gets in and possesses the youngest of a family.
Okay.
And he uses them to kill the family.
Yeah.
You see this in all of the clips. Now, in the clips that Ethan Hawke watches, you don't know who's killing them. You assume it's Bagul, but you don't see until the final, 10 minutes of the movie that there were extra reels that Ethan Hawke never found.
Oh.
And when he splices them on, you see it's the kids killing the family.
Oh.
Well, he then realizes that his daughter has kind of become the new person possessed by Bagul.
Right.
And he ends up getting drugged by her. When he wakes up, his wife, and his son are tied and bound in a room. The little girl walks in with an axe and just butchers them to death.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah. At which point, she loves painting. And she takes their blood and starts painting all over the walls. Unicorns, cats, dogs, anything she likes.
No.
And then when her film is finished, because she films the whole thing,
Right.
it's labeled House Painting 012.
Right. Right. So, and then each of their kids now have their own, you see that they have their own reels. of
Yes.
What it's called.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And they're all labeled like fishing trip.
Yeah,
Right,
fishing
yeah.
trip, or, mowing the lawn,
Right.
or going for a swim, or something
Right.
like that.
So
And-
Yeah,
Something
something
completely
very
inconspicuous.
not menacing.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, the other point that was made in the first Sinister, and again, this is spoilers, but it dives into what we see in this teaser. One of the plot points is every murder occurred right when the family moved. But they had...
When they left the house, or
Yes.
No, when
now,
they-
it ties in two ways.
okay.
First, the house they're moving into was the house where the previous murders occurred.
Right. Yeah.
So the murders started somewhere.
yeah.
But then someone moved into that vacant house after the murders.
Right. Yeah.
When Bagul starts fucking with the family,
Yeah.
that family moves out. As soon as they move to a new house, they're murdered.
Okay.
And then when that house becomes vacant, someone moves into that new house and it starts all over again.
Okay.
And that chain continues and continues and continues until Ethan Hawke's family. So now, presumably, Shannon Sossaman's family moved into Ethan Hawke's old house.
Yes.
But it doesn't look like his house. Which tells me, is this a new chain, or are we continuing from the mythos of the first Sinister? We don't know.
And it was really odd, too, because, like, with the trailer and everything, with the little boy who was meant to have been possessed or whatever, like, you know, there were, like, all the other kids talking to him and stuff, right? And that wasn't anything that was explored in the first film.
No, it wasn't. And that's another thing. There are films we see in this, like the collection that the little boy's splicing together. Those films aren't in the first movie.
Right.
Which tells me maybe there's a whole nother line of kids killing each other or kids killing their families that we haven't seen.
Right.
And maybe Bagul's like has whole lines of this across America and we don't know about it.
And then what happens to the kids after they kill their families?
That is a good question. We don't really know.
I was about to ask that.
Right.
Well, at the end of Sinister, we see Bagul show up and he picks up Ethan Hawke's daughter and kind of just carries her away.
Okay.
We're led to believe that all the kids die and that he kind of like holds onto their souls.
So
and kind of like he like almost like he has like an invisible leash and kind of just leads them everywhere.
Okay, so is this kind of what that is supposed to be? Like these kids are under
like servants to Bagul.
Right.
Right. They're kind of leading the next kid to do what he has to do.
Okay.
Although Bagul never directly interacts with the youngest kid until they've committed the murder.
Until they've committed the murder?
Yes. Up until that point, it's just the children. Like, when we see the little girl in Sinister, the youngest of Ethan Hawke, she sees the children, and she's terrified of the children.
Right, which is kind of like the case in this movie.
We see
this here.
But she doesn't see Bagul until the very end of the movie.
Right.
So, maybe the same thing's happening here. This youngest boy in the trailer is seeing these kids, and Bagul is influencing the kids, but the youngest boy doesn't see Bagul yet, which looks like what's happening.
Right. And then somehow they convince the child to commit the murders.
Yes. We don't know why, we don't know how, but yes, they convince the youngest child to commit murder.
Because they're not possessed necessarily. They just
do
it.
They just do it, yeah. They are apparently acting of their own free will, but they've... Like, at the end of Sinister, the line the little girl says, "Don't worry, Daddy, I'll make you famous again." Because the whole movie, Ethan Hawke had been talking about how, he's out of the limelight, how he has to write another book to stay popular and this and that. Really worried about it. And so the little girl says, "Don't worry, Daddy, I'll make you famous again." And in dying, he now becomes more famous than he ever was.
Right.
So I don't know if that's leading into it, like some sort of, backwards wish that comes true, or if that's what Bagul leads to. I don't know.
Okay.
But as far as this film is concerned, I'm looking forward to it, only because I like the original so much. This trailer doesn't give us a whole lot.
Yeah.
I mean, it gives us, again, a spoiler for the first movie, and we see Deputy So-and-so trying to warn this family about what's going on, but it's weird. It's really weird. Like, I'm confused where these other films have come from, because again, we haven't seen them yet. Is there a whole nother line that Bagul has been fucking with? Or...
Well, it looks like they were in a chest.
Oh, and yeah, that's another thing. In the original films, they weren't in, like, this chest. They were in just a little box, like a little metal box. And this isn't the same container the films were stored in the first movie.
Could it be like there was one other family that moved in between Ethan Hawke's and Shannon's
That's possible too.
And then so what happened was like they just were able to find more and just categorize or organize.
Or maybe the kid who does all the killing kind of grabs them all together and leaves them for the next person.
Well, no, that's inferred. Bagul gets his power from people watching his films, from these things, because you don't see you don't see Bagul until you pull up pictures of him or you watch the films. Until you do that, he has no power. Through watching the murders, he gets stronger and stronger until finally he has enough power over the kid and over you for you to die. It's almost reverse voyeurism.
Or is he? Because you said that they were acting out of their own free will, and that they weren't actually possessed during the murders. Is that clear, or is that?
It's not. I believe that, but that is not clear.
Because, I mean, it could be some kind of possession or brainwashing in some way where he needs a certain amount of power to be able to influence the child directly, as you said, in some way, either through possession or another kind of possession, another kind of influence.
Right.
But at the same time, the child also retains their own, like, imagination and childlike qualities.
Right.
Like, through that process. And that's why they're able to act out whatever's the end.
Right. These are elements that I love of this story. This is stuff that you can, you can expand on and you can discuss after a story like this. You don't know how he works exactly.
Right.
The movie doesn't go out of its way to explain every little thing about the demon, the monster. And that's what makes it great. I hope they don't do that with this movie.
Right.
It looks like they're not, but it looks in here like, the kid is like stringing up the family in a cornfield, like they're on corn-made crosses.
Right, yeah.
Like what is going on here now?
But there were 3
yes
crucifixes, and there were only 3 people in the family.
There were 2 kids.
There were 2 kids.
There were 2 kids and the mom.
And a dad.
And there was a dad as well.
Oh, there was a dad? I didn't
Yes.
even notice there was a dad.
Yeah, there was a dad. You don't see him much in the preview, but there is a dad.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that there was
Yeah,
a dad.
so he strung up his other family members, then he's sitting on the ground recording it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that there was a dad.
Yeah.
But
So,
I mean, I don't know. I like horror stories in that they freak me out. I don't like to watch them because but I like a good story, and I like it to be able to scare me by just you telling me the story without me having to see it visually, because I think what's scarier in the back of my mind is going to be like what in the back of let me start again. Whatever is in the back of my mind is going to be a lot scarier than what I actually see, almost. Like, because I'm imagining, kind of all the dark spaces everywhere and, what can or cannot be present. And it's, yeah.
Okay, and that's fair. 3-star, do you have anything to say before we finish this one up?
Nope, I've said my piece.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to say is yes, I'm very much looking forward to this film because, again, I was a pretty big fan of the first. It got mediocre reviews. There were some who hated it, some who loved it. I was on the more favoring it side. And with the fact that they're bringing back the original writers, I think this has a lot of promise to it.
Yeah.
And I really hope it does well.
Yeah.
Not just because I enjoyed the original, but because I want to support Cargill.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to hearing about it afterwards. After you see it, I'm looking forward to hearing about it.
Fair enough. Well, getting into what is quite possibly one of the more anticipated films on our list, Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice.
Maybe he's just a guy trying to do the right thing.
We know better now, don't we?
Devils don't come from hell beneath us.
They brought their warrior.
They come from the sky.
The world has been so caught up with what he can do that no one has asked what he should do.
That's how it starts. The fever, the rage, the feeling of powerlessness that turns good men cruel.
Yeah, I was so confused watching this trailer. I was like, wait, are they saying Superman's bad? Or is Batman bad?
I'm going to explain that, but your initial reaction was confusion. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay,
It was
so
like, aren't they both good guys protecting? But I was like, wait, why is Superman in Gotham? Is this Gotham? Or is this, Metropolis?
Well, I'll explain that, but what were you going to say, Fangirl?
Oh no, I was just saying how when my brother first saw this trailer as well, he was just like, "Have you seen it?" And I'm like, "No, I haven't yet." But he was also super confused. He was just like, "What is going on?"
I feel like for comic book fans, and I'm going to be really comic book elitist right now, I'm sorry, but for anyone who has read The Dark Knight Returns, you probably got what was going on in this trailer.
Mm-hmm.
For anyone who hasn't seen Man of Steel, or for anyone who isn't really familiar with the mythos of these characters, you're probably not going to get what's going on here. Not even that. Maybe if you're even generally familiar, you're going to look at this and say, why are they going with this route? I'm going to get into, what was confusing about this trailer in a minute. But let's first talk about, obviously the finer points of it. Directing this, of course, is Zack Snyder. And Zack Snyder has been signed on for all of the major films in the DC universe now.
All of them?
Not all of them. The Avengers style for this. He's going to be attached to the Justice League. But all the other ones, the side projects, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Flash, Cyborg, Green Lantern, they're all going to be different directors. But the main canon, the Justice League canon, is going to be helmed by Zack Snyder. And the fangirl is really, really sad. I know.
I take it you don't like him.
I mean, it's... Okay.
He's not the worst director in Hollywood. He's not. There are far worse, but there are also far better.
Yes. And for something like, Justice League, I would have not. I mean, I don't think that style necessarily, maybe that's what I'm worried about, kind of the style of this film's fitting into the whole kind of Justice League realm.
Right.
Possibly kind of the over-exaggeratedness of it.
Right. Zack Snyder has a very particular...
It's not very grounded.
He has a very weird style to his films.
Yes.
Even outside the stuff that he's adapted. Like, people first saw it when they saw 300. And 300 is a great film.
It is.
But that was very much based off, the style of the comics it came from. And since then, he's done... a lot of adaptations from, well, not a lot of adaptations from comics, but, he did Man of Steel, but he also did The Watchmen. People forget he did The Watchmen.
Yeah.
People
he did?
Yeah. People didn't like The Watchmen. I thought it was a pretty faithful adaptation. Where he failed was Sucker Punch. Sucker Punch, and the 3-Star Sapphire will fight me on this, Sucker Punch was a piece of shit. I did not like it. I know she liked it just for the style, and it's.
I like the style and the visual effects. The story was really confusing, and you really had to pay really close attention. Otherwise, you're like, "What the hell is going on?"
I got the story. The story's just bullshit.
I don't think it was total bullshit.
No, it made no sense.
Stunning to me.
When you explain it out, it makes no damn sense. And Zack Snyder was really just trying to make his version of Inception. What you realize is that his version of Inception has a lot of girls in skimpy outfits with panty shots.
That's what boys like.
Okay, we can get into that whole topic another time. We're not going to debate Sucker Punch right now.
I would just like to point out that this time it's not me disagreeing with the projection.
Fair enough. I mean, look, if you want to argue the points, and I'm not going to talk too long about this. If you want to argue the merits of Sucker Punch as far as, whether or not it's, fanboy service, whether or not it has strong female characters or whatever, you can do that on a separate argument. But what I'm arguing is the core story, the narrative of that film sucked. Nothing to do with how the characters are dressed or how it looked or how it was explained. No, the story was awful. And that was its biggest shortcoming. And that was the project that Zack Snyder said, like, this is my magnum opus. This is what I want my name attached to. This is like my dream movie. And it was a piece of shit. And that's what worries me about Zack Snyder, is that was like his combination of everything he wanted to make. That scares me.
That's me sticking my tongue out at you, dude.
Yeah. Mad to you too.
Nah.
Anyway, moving on. In this film, we have, of course, Ben Affleck as the role of... Affleck. Sorry. Ben Affleck as the role of Bruce Wayne and Batman.
That was such a strange visual to see that for the first time, to see Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne.
And
yeah, I was like, wait, is he Batman or is he Superman? Did I miss the series reboot here?
Wait, whoa, back up. 3-star.
Like, at first, when I first saw him, I was like, wait, who is he playing in this?
You didn't remember that he was cast as Bruce Wayne? That
No, I
set the
didn't.
internet on fire for months. Like, the internet is still burning from that.
Oh, yeah.
There's still smoldering flames.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I was blown back by it. I just took it out of my memory. So I was like, what the hell?
Okay.
Why is he in this movie?
Okay, fair enough. You
I
forgot.
was like,
okay.
where's Christian Bale? Like, he's
oh
Batman.
God. That's Paul talking.
Well, I'm just saying. I was like, where's Christian Bale?
Well,
why is he not here?
I think everyone would have wanted Christian Bale.
Everyone would have preferred Christian Bale, but what happened is the continuity from Christopher Nolan's universe, that Batman universe, is not this continuity.
No.
This is an entirely different universe. That Batman, for intensive purposes, does not exist, except in that separate realm. This is a whole new Batman, a whole different story. We don't know what's happened with him. We also don't know his age, and that's the key thing I'm going to get into in a minute.
Yeah, because he looks very salt and peppery in
Yes,
that.
and that's the point. We're going to get into that. Now, also in this, we have Henry Cavill returning as Superman. Now, Paul would argue they haven't called him Superman yet. In the first one, they called him the Man of Steel or just an alien. They never called him Superman, so you can't claim that he has all the traits and,
Of
Superman, which I think is a bunch of bullshit. Whatever.
I mean, it was just kind of like, would that be kind of comparable to the idea of Selena Kyle never being called Catwoman in the last Batman?
Yeah,
Right?
but at the same time, it was still, you could still tell that was Catwoman.
Right.
That was still that character.
Exactly.
And Christopher Nolan didn't tell a completely new character. She didn't screw up all, the traits and all the personality of Selena Kyle.
Right.
So
that's why.
just by calling them a different name or not calling them by their appropriate name doesn't mean you can change the character.
No, I don't think you can change the character, but I think this is, I'm talking through Paul. I don't know if this is what he thinks, but maybe he just means that the character is not completely developed. Like, it's not Superman yet.
Right. And that's what that's what a lot of people were arguing with the Man of Steel.
Yeah.
That,
But that doesn't matter because I'm a piece of shit.
I know.
Anywho, what's
Anyway, we're not going to argue about Man of Steel.
Well, there wouldn't be no argument. You agree with me,
Oh, no, I agree.
Okay. Just making sure that you also did not enjoy that movie.
No, I didn't. But that is easily one of the most divisive films of the last couple years. People either loved it or hated it. There's no one in the middle on Man of Steel. But anyway, also in this, we have Amy Adams returning as Lois Lane. We have Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. Okay. I like how they released an image of him the other day, like, oh, here's his first shot of Lex Luthor. And I'm like, it's Jesse Eisenberg with a bald head.
Yeah.
Whoop-de-damn-do.
Yeah.
Like, what am I supposed to gain from this? It's not like debuting Jared Leto as the Joker or, or someone else as an important character with a bunch of makeup or a mask or something. It's fucking Lex Luthor. Okay. Like, I don't care. I'm sorry. As far as the casting goes, I like Jesse Eisenberg. I think he's a solid actor. But as Lex Luthor, I don't know.
Because I feel like Lex Luthor demands...
He demands respect.
Yes.
He's
demands got charisma.
Authority.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Jesse Eisenberg, I don't think
Jesse Eisenberg has always played quirky.
Yeah.
And, and silly. And
talks really
still
fast.
likable. Yeah. Comparable to, like, Michael Cera or, someone of that ilk. And that's not bad. He's good as those roles. He'd have to do a full 180 for me.
But I feel like that's the case for pretty much everybody they've casted, with the Wonder Woman, with Lex Luthor now. It's just kind of like, with Ben Affleck, they really have to fill these roles. They have to fill them. They're really, really big shoes to fill.
Let me say, before we move on, as far as Ben Affleck, Paul had mentioned this, and it's a weird thing to bring up. He has the chin for the suit. When you look at him in the suit, he looks good in the suit. I'm like, you look like Batman in the suit.
But I don't know if he's Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, I don't know if he's a good Bruce Wayne, but he'd be a good Batman. So, but that's a shame, and which is what a lot of more people are saying. Oh, we wanted Karl Urban as Batman and Bruce Wayne because he could pull off both roles. Did you just have a mind orgasm? What just happened? I think I just broke her mind, 3-star. Hold on.
Oh my god, I think... Oh!
Here's the thing. For anyone who saw Dredd, which came out a few years ago, it's on Netflix. Go watch Dredd. If you watch Dredd, you will see Karl Urban as the Dark Knight. It is incredible. And anyone who saw Dredd was like, oh my god, he is the perfect Batman.
But I also love Carl Urban. Like, not that I don't like Ben Affleck or anything.
Right.
But, oh my goodness, why didn't they do that?
Every fanboy on the planet was saying, get Carl Urban. And they didn't do it. Again, no. Again, I'm not knocking Ben Affleck.
Right,
I still
right.
think he's going to be solid. But they missed a real
Really good
opportunity by
opportunity.
not getting Carl Urban.
Yeah.
But we're going to watch Dredd at some point. Because that's one of the few remakes in recent years that's actually pretty damn good.
Yeah.
But anyway, moving on
sidetracked.
from that, we do have Diane Lane returning as Mrs. Kent.
Right.
We also have Lawrence Fishburne returning as the head of the Daily
writer
Planet.
yeah.
I forget his name. Head of the Daily Planet. We have Jeremy
Lawrence Fishburne.
yeah, Lawrence Fishburne. We have Jeremy Irons as Alfred, which I think is pretty good casting. I like him as Alfred. We have Gail.
I'm gonna have to say I will miss Michael Caine. I mean,
I know it's Michael Caine, and he was fantastic. But Jeremy Irons is great. I
Yes.
love Jeremy Irons. We have Gail Gadot as Wonder Woman. Now these are minor characters. Apparently these characters are only showing up for a little bit.
Yeah.
In the film. I mean, Jeremy Irons is probably going to be in there a decent
bit
amount.
more,
but these are all the ones I'm about to mention are smaller roles.
it's kind of like they're getting ready
Right, for Justice League.
Right.
Yeah. We also have Gail Gadot as Wonder Woman. We have Jason Momoa as Aquaman.
Mm-hmm.
And for people who don't know who that is, that's Khal Drogo from Game of Thrones. And we also have Jenna Malone as an unspecified role that still hasn't been announced yet.
Ooh,
And-
I love Jenna Malone.
And we talked about this before, and you said this. We believe that she's going to be Carrie Kelly, the new Robin.
Yes.
We think she's going to be that role, because if they're taking it from the Dark Knight Returns universe, she would be Robin, Carrie Kelly. Now, I'm going to talk about that in a second, but those are the main players in this. Now, to talk about the confusion of this trailer. In The Dark Knight Returns, if you remember what happened in The Dark Knight Rises, it's almost the exact same thing that's happening in this. You have a Batman who's pretty much retired.
Right.
And he's been out of it for about a decade. Crime in Gotham has just skyrocketed in his absence. And now in Dark Knight Rises, they did the reverse, where they managed to pass the Dent Act and managed to lock up a bunch of criminals because Harvey Dent died and what he represented. So Batman wasn't needed at that time. And the reverse has happened. In Batman's absence, crime has just skyrocketed. So Batman needs to come back out of retirement. The only problem is he's now 55 years old and his body's kind of crapping out on him.
Right.
And even when he's fighting some of the villains he used to fight, he just can't keep up with them, even though they're aging. And he needs someone like Robin to come in, and Carrie Kelly actually comes in and like nurses Batman back to health half the time. Like Batman's like breaking limbs and he's like shattering bones, and like Carrie Kelly's like grabbing him and dragging him back to the Batmobile after every fight.
Right.
It's like, come on, let's go home. In that universe, Superman is no longer the classic good guy. He's still viewed as the end-all be-all greatest superhero, but now he's kind of a tool of the government. What's happened is the American government has become very oppressive, very authoritative, and he's kind of become their lapdog. Whenever something needs to be done,
Right.
they call Superman and he goes and gets it done, even if it's in the name of oppression and for the greater good, the greater peace. And a lot of people in America don't like Superman anymore.
Right. And that has been also the story arc for a couple, I think, for some of the animated movies too,
Yes,
right?
it has.
Yeah.
A couple animated films have dived into that.
Right.
In this film, they're doing the same thing but in a different way. They're showing that he's kind of become authoritative. You see, like, people in the military, like, bowing down to him and kneeling to him.
Yeah.
And it seems to me that maybe he's kind of working with the military. Like, maybe he's gotten in good with, like, the people we had seen in the previous film, like the generals and that. And maybe he's working with them. And because of that, the common man has started to hate him. They see him, like, you even see in the trailer, someone had painted on a statue to him, False God. Which tells
Yeah, I
me
saw that.
maybe he's become this oppressive figure. And despite the fact that he's trying to work for the greater good isn't what he thinks it is. And maybe he's being bent the wrong way by the powers that be.
Yeah, or, could it also be the idea that he's getting into his own head?
What do you mean?
Like, as in his ego is getting too big for who he is.
Oh, then that's possible too. But that usually doesn't happen to Cal. Usually when he's being... Usually when he's viewed in this light, it's because someone's spinning him in the wrong direction.
I feel like it'd be more interesting if he actually did become
more egotistical.
Yes.
Like,
and
I am the savior.
Yes.
Right. And that would be good. However, and this is the more important point, you've only just established this character.
That's true.
Is it really that good of an idea to turn him into what would amount to be an antagonist in this?
See, but the thing is, seeing how Man of Steel ended, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like with, can I say what
We can spoil Man of Steel, sure.
Okay.
Quick spoilers, guys.
With him killing General Zod,
Right.
And him not wanting to have done that. It's like, and then that struggle comes back in to this film. Like,
Right.
kind of just the idea. And that's why I'm saying, the idea of not all of his characteristics have been fully developed, as Paul would say.
Mm-hmm.
And, him having to struggle with, having done that, and at the same time getting into his head, being a little bit, his ego getting too big for what it is.
Right.
Because, he's, well, I've already done that.
Mm-hmm.
Where is my limit? He doesn't have a limit at this point.
Right.
So,
and this goes back to the themes of The Dark Knight Returns, which is why I'm going to try and finish up with talking about this until we get into the actual trailer.
Oh, right. We haven't even...
Yeah.
In the end of Dark Knight Returns, I'm just going to kind of spoil it here. What happens is there's a final confrontation between Superman and Batman. Batman, in the time of what has happened, has basically made Gotham the safest city in America. Through what he's done with like getting gangs together and kind of having the gangs work for him and kind of becoming like a unifying peacekeeping force, showing, hey, we actually don't need the American government right now. We can kind of fend for ourselves. Of course, the American government doesn't really like that. Nope. And they send in Superman to kill Batman. To say to him, kill Batman. So Superman shows up and says to Bruce, because Superman is practically, a politician, he's a peacekeeper, and says, look, they told me to do this, but I don't want to do it. Just show that, you want to work with the American government. Show that you're willing to keep the peace, but with them. I want to help you. I want to work with you. And Batman looks at him and is just like, you don't realize what you've become. You really don't realize, how bad the government has gotten.
Right.
You've become their lapdog. You've become their tool. And I have to fight you now. And it's like, they're both trying to be the greater good, but they're both, having to now come to, it's come to this,
right.
And what ultimately happens in that story is that Green Arrow shows up, shoots a kryptonite arrow at Superman, and basically drains him of all of his strength.
Right.
Batman beats the living hell out of him, nearly kills him. And there's a famous line that says, no matter what happens in our futures, I want you to remember this, the time that I beat you. At which point, Batman supposedly dies of a heart attack. And Cal's just left there what just happened? You find out it was all ruse, and that he wanted the government to think he was dead. Because at Bruce Wayne's burial, Cal is actually there because he feels so remorseful for what happened.
Right.
But as he's walking away, he hears a slight heartbeat coming from the coffin. At which point he looks over at Carrie Kelly, gives her a wink, and then walks away. At which point that leaves Bruce and Carrie left to kind of continue the fight in Gotham while the government thinks he's dead.
Right.
I don't think they're going to go that far into this movie. I don't think that's not what they're going to do. But that's how the themes of that story
are gonna
play out in this. What you have is, with Ben Affleck, you have an older Batman, someone who is either already retired or has a foot in retirement, someone who doesn't want to do this anymore,
right?
But sees what's happening with Superman.
Yeah,
sees how he's either working with the government or has kind of become this overbearing, as they say, false god.
Right.
And how either some people are worshiping or how the people are hating him.
Yeah.
And, the fear of what that means for the country and for the world. And Batman sitting there saying, I might be the only one who can do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I know 3-Star, you had mentioned whether or not this is in Metropolis or if it's in Gotham.
Yeah, like, where is this supposed to be taking place? Or is this like a whole new city?
I believe it's going to be in both.
Yeah.
I'm almost certain that the statue is in Metropolis, but I don't know if Bruce would go to Gotham. I mean, there's no reason he can't travel.
No, Cal.
I'm sorry. I don't know if Bruce would go to Metropolis or if Cal would go to Gotham. Cal goes to Gotham a lot, but it's very rare for Batman to go to Metropolis. So it leads me to think that maybe Batman comes out of retirement, does something really great for Gotham, and like the story of The Dark Knight Returns, maybe the government says, oh, hey, there's this guy in Gotham who's kind of stirring up trouble. Would you mind going over there and taking care of him for us? And then Batman's there, like saying, do you bleed?
Right.
And there's a joke floating around the internet right now where Batman's looking up at Superman and Batman says, do you bleed? And Superman says, no, but your parents did. And so, Batman versus Superman.
Yeah. Wow, that's pretty screwed up.
Damn.
Yeah, I saw that.
I hope that addresses a lot of the confusion you had with this trailer. I mean,
Yeah.
I understand that it's confusing. And the only reason I know roughly what was going to happen or what was happening in this is I've read The Dark Knight Returns, which, by the way, people, if you haven't read that, it's one of the best graphic novels of the last 2 or 3 decades. Go read it. Again, I have to question their idea of making Superman this misguided or even an anti-hero or antagonist this early.
But see, again, I feel like it makes sense. It's almost kind of like getting that out of his system. It's like before his character actually has finished developing. This is him trying to figure out who he is.
Right.
And to do that, it's almost like a rite of passage kind of thing.
You have to go up against Batman.
There you go. So, I mean, I don't know. It may be, kind of to humble him a little bit.
I mean, my only thought was this shouldn't be Batman versus Superman. This should be Batman and Superman.
Right.
This should be the first team-up movie. It should be. This movie should have been called World's Finest, which is what the comic was called when these two teamed up.
Right.
And those comics were generally very good. This should have been called World's Finest and going down like a story of them fighting a common enemy.
Right.
That would have been great.
And
I don't want to see them fight. I just don't.
Well, I think I get where you're coming from, especially since, as you said, it's so early on the franchise that they're trying to start up here, and it would make sense for us to be introduced to the characters that we're familiar with, and that is actually Superman,
right,
and Batman. But with kind of how DC has started to portray what they want to do with the rest of the series, kind of having to do everything, the dark way, kind of.
And that's a whole other topic I don't want to
Right.
get into. Their whole no joke clause and
Exactly,
all that.
which
Oh,
I'm not happy about either.
Oh, God.
Because, especially for a character like Flash later on, it's
Oh,
like,
my
how
God.
the fuck are
You
you supposed
can't.
to do
You
that?
can't.
Exactly.
But
And I'm
we won't get into that. That's a whole other line of bullshit we won't
Exactly.
get into.
So with that being said, I kind of understand why they're going in this direction to establish the characters in a different way. To kind of be like, okay, well, this is how Superman is going to get a start in this new world that we're creating, this universe
Right.
that we're creating. I don't know. I can't say I'm happy for it necessarily. It's just the direction that they've decided to
Right.
take, I think.
That's fair. We've been chatting for a bit, 3-Star. Do you have anything?
No. He's already.
Sorry.
No, I'm just
Sorry.
fighting about the comics. I was like, what the hell's going on?
Wait, and you didn't know who was who?
I don't know who was who. What was going on? Could remember Ben Affleck was cast as Batman. I was like, what the hell's he doing in here?
You
So
could have
confused
almost
why they were fighting. I'm like, why are they fighting? I thought they were friends. Aren't they in that league together in the comics?
And
I was
I'm
like, what the
I'm
hell's
glad
going
you bring
on?
this up. I'm
And
glad
now
you
it
bring
kinda
this
makes
up.
sense.
I'm glad you say that because you're now voicing the opinions of people who don't follow comics at all. You're sitting there saying, you watch a trailer like, why are they fighting? And even if for someone who hadn't or even has seen Man of Steel, you'd be looking at this saying, why is it going to this? I don't get why this is happening.
Right.
So you raised that point, and that's a fair point. I don't know if the common moviegoer is going to get what's going on here.
Right.
So maybe we just have to see another trailer for it.
Maybe.
But anyway, we could be jumping to big conclusions because this is just a teaser.
Yeah.
But from what they've shown us in this, with the imagery they've shown us, we can draw some pretty decent
damning
conclusions as to the route they're going.
Yeah. And calling it Batman versus Superman or Superman versus Batman.
Batman versus Superman.
Yeah. Like, it's already, they're pitted against each other.
Right.
And for me, I know that, Superman has his foes out there and everything, but within the league, the only person or the only other hero who can contain Superman in my mind is Batman.
Right. Just because I'm a DC guy, I mean, I like Marvel too, don't get me wrong. I love what Marvel does, but I grew up on DC. I have to look forward to this.
Right.
I have nothing but high hopes for this, and I hope they are not dashed because, I mean, yeah, I did not enjoy Man of Steel, and they're bringing back a lot of the crew, the same director, almost the same writers. I hope you improve upon it, guys. I really do.
Yeah.
I mean, Dark Knight Returns is a great story, but that's not the story you should be telling right now. So, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I think I don't know how I feel about this still. I think I'm still pretty meh about it. I'm looking forward to it in a way where I'm definitely going to go see it, but whether or not I'm going to enjoy it is a different story.
Okay.
I think.
And that's fair. 3-star?
I don't know. It's just another Batman Superman movie. I mean, how many are there now? Tons.
Wait, what? This is their first.
Yeah.
I know, but there's so many Batman movies, there's so many Superman movies. I'd probably just wait to see how well they did.
I am going to reach through this monitor and just throttle you. How can you say this? This is the first time they've actually been together in a film.
I know, and that's why I'm like, it could be good, and it could be horrid.
Okay, and here's the thing. If you say there have been too many Batman, Superman films...
No, there's a lot of Batman films, and then there are a lot of Superman films. They're separate entities.
Okay, and
this is the first combo. So,
right.
Although I have high hopes that it could really be good, I am, leery.
Okay, well,
they could really screw it up.
Okay, well, let's count how many they've had. Okay, if you want to count the first Adam West Batman movie, if you want to, there's now been, let's see,
30
for Batman films. You have the Adam West one, that's one. Then you had 4 for the original Batman series: Batman, Batman Returns, Batman Forever, Batman and Robin. Then you had the Nolan films, Begins, Dark Knight, Dark Knight Rises. So that's 8 Batman films. Okay. Yeah. For Superman, you had the original canon. You had 1, 2, 3, and 4. You then had Superman Returns, and then you had Man of Steel. So that's 6.
9.
No, that's 6. I just counted them. Superman 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then you had Superman Returns. That's 5.
You forgot Adam Man vs. Superman, Superman and the Mole Man, because you got...
Wait, whoa. What? What the hell are those?
You've got the 1948, the 1950, the 51, the 78,
the
84, the 87, the 06, and the 2013 Superman.
No. Okay, you're talking about the old black and white adaptations. That I don't know if those ever got nationwide releases.
Well, there's still 9 Superman movies, 10, which would be this one.
Okay, well, you count all those old ones, which I've never seen. But if you want to count them, okay, but all right. I'm just saying this is something entirely new to this universe. I understand if you have fears, and I believe you said the same thing about the Spider-Man series. And I agree with Spider-Man only because it's been rebooted so much recently. I mean, we've had now 5 Spider-Man films in the last decade.
Oh,
so
God, I'm so over Spider-Man.
And I agree with that. But you're talking about a span for Superman stretching over 7 or 8 decades, almost as long for Batman. So while I understand your fears about, and maybe your trepidations about going and having seen too many of these, and that you're kind of getting stale on them, it's not nearly as bad as what Spider-Man has done. This is new. This is new for me.
Yeah, no, and like it definitely enticed me, but I'm concerned that everything that was really good about the movie, I already saw.
Okay.
And that everything else is just going to be like filler that it's just not nearly, it just lets me down.
Okay.
I don't want to be disappointed.
Okay.
That's
fair. I don't want to be disappointed either. That's a fair point.
I want it to impress me, but I don't want to, get my hopes up too high.
Okay. But anyway, getting into a new segment tonight, actually, because we've been talking about this forever, that we would go back and discuss new trailers that have come out for highly anticipated movies. And we're going to do that with a few trailers tonight in a new segment we're going to call Trailer Redux. The first one is Jurassic World.
Every time we've unveiled a new attraction, attendance has spiked.
That was awesome.
Corporate felt genetic modification would up the wow factor.
They're dinosaurs. Wow enough.
She was designed to be bigger than the T-Rex.
What happened to the sibling?
She ate it. We have an asset out of containment.
So, we're... 3-star had a little fangirl moment there.
Oh, yeah.
Now, we're not going to get into all the finer points of this because we've discussed all the finer points before. So we're just going to discuss this trailer and any new information it's given us. The first bit that we see right off the bat is Chris Pratt having a pack of velociraptors all to himself and controlling them, which was...
He wasn't controlling them, he was bonded with them, so they had respect for him, and because they had respect for them, they wouldn't eat him, and then you see him on the motorcycle later, it was so awesome, I was like, oh my god!
Yeah, that. Now, this had been rumored in the first preview, but we thought that's what happening, but we didn't know if that was confirmed or not. But in this, it's been all but confirmed that's what's happening.
Yeah.
And holy shit, is that so badass. That is so cool.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Just the idea of you on a motorcycle leading a pack of velociraptors is one of the most badass things ever thought up.
Oh my god. I like screeched when I saw it. I was like, oh my god!
You screeched like a velociraptor?
I did. I guess that's more like a pterodactyl.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough.
I was so excited. I was like, oh my god. Let me rewatch that part again.
So this trailer has actually revealed a few plot points that we do know about before. Mm-hmm. So we hear from Bryce Dallas Howard that whenever they've revealed a new dinosaur in the new park, that attendance has skyrocketed.
Yeah.
But the problem is they're running out of dinosaurs to debut.
Right.
So they say, oh, why don't we just make up a new one?
Right.
Because that's smart. Because dinosaur, like Chris Pratt says, like a dinosaur is a dinosaur, is that not good enough?
Yeah, right.
They're dinosaurs. Come on. Well, the new dinosaur that they came up with is called Indominus Rex. It's a hybrid of several other meat eaters. You don't know which ones, but it's called the Indominus Rex, or for short, the D-Rex.
Huh.
Yeah. Now, this has led to some jokes online, which
Yeah,
I made one, which, what did you see?
Oh, no, nothing. I just came to my head, as soon as D-Rex, it's like...
The one I saw was of a shocked Bryce Dallas Howard saying she wants the D-Rex. Yep. Give her the D-Rex. Sorry, Bryce.
Blame the writers.
Yeah, blame the writers. Now, you see a couple small shots of the D-Rex in this movie. And apparently it's able to communicate with the other dinosaurs.
Right.
And...
Yeah, what the hell was that about? I was like, what do you mean it's communicating?
Right. Yeah. Not only that, but...
It took out its tracer.
Right.
Yeah.
And not only that, but it's now hunting for sport.
Yeah.
It's not hunting just because it wants to eat. It's hunting just because it likes killing.
Right.
Oh,
yeah.
boy. Oh, fucking boy.
Oh god. Oh god. Oh
What
god.
the hell
I was
did
like,
you
oh
do?
my god.
I like how they said they bred two of them and it killed the other. I'm
Yeah,
like,
it's like it killed its sister.
It ate its sister. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, like first I was like, oh, it's a T-Rex. I'm like, that is so not a T-Rex.
You see a T-Rex in the preview at one point. It's like behind glass. You see a T-Rex.
Yeah, but the creature that ripped out its thing was not a T-Rex.
No.
that's-
Now it's inferred that it's part T-Rex,
Yes.
but you don't know what exactly it is.
Right.
Yeah, it's like a, mishmash of.
It could be a mishmash
creatures.
of an Allosaurus, a Tyrannosaurus. It could be part Velociraptor.
Yeah.
We don't know. I mean,
who knows?
it could be smaller than a T-Rex.
No,
but
it said it was twice the size.
No, it's
of
big.
it.
Did it say that?
It was like yeah, it was
Twice
They
the
said it
size
was
of a
big.
T-Rex? Oh my
or
god.
maybe not twice the size, but it was definitely. It said it was bigger than the T-Rex.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there
So
was.
it could be they could have bred it with what was that other one from the third movie?
Oh yeah, the thing with the spines. It's on like the fins on its back. Yeah. They
Yeah,
could have
the
bred it
fins
with
on its
that.
back with a
yeah.
really long snout.
There was a T-Rex like dinosaur that was bigger than the T-Rex. I forget what it was called.
Right.
It wasn't like a megalosaurus. That's what the swimming one you see in this, which bites the pterodactyl at the end. I think that
Oh
was.
my god, that was awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was.
It's not it wasn't a megalodon. A megalodon was actually a shark.
Yes.
But it was
the
something
megalodon
like
was
that.
shark.
Yeah. But holy crap, this trailer was amazing.
It was.
And this was a lot of fun, and I hope this isn't bad. I mean, when it gets this over the top and it gets this possibly campy, it can go wrong really quickly. But I have a lot of high hopes for this.
And I think when it is that campy though, it can straddle that line for a while. Like it's got a lot of leeway before it hits bad. So
Right.
I'm excited for this. Like so excited. And I have to say, Chris Pratt looked amazing.
He did.
Like he was so tan and yummy. Like
Tan and yummy. Quote of the night. Tan and yummy.
Like, I mean,
Now,
again, I don't like to be shallow.
when the goddess comes
but-
back, can I call her tan and yummy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was about to say she's gonna be tan and yummy when she gets back. So,
And if she hits me, I'm gonna blame you.
Oh, she probably will. Be like, look, they told me to call you tan
and then I'll do it, and then she'll be like, "Oh, thank you."
Oh, thanks for the compliment.
Thanks. Anyway, we're all looking forward to this. 3-star. Any further thoughts?
I am excited.
Other than just an audible squeak.
Inaudible
Like the
velociraptor
first
noises.
trailer I saw, like a while ago, I was like, okay, this could be really good or really bad.
Right.
What are they doing? And now that like I'm feeling them out a little bit more, I'm kind of really excited.
Yeah,
And
as
I like
am
that
I.
globe thing they go through the forest on. I'm like, oh my god, it's awesome.
I know. I was like, I
wanna
want
be in one of
yes,
those.
yes, me too. I was just like, oh my god. Like if they made a movie just about me being in one of those things and rolling around, I'd be like, I'd watch it. Well, not me, but like someone.
Get in trouble and play the Benny Hill music. Rolling around.
Yeah.
That was
as
so
long
amazing.
as you didn't have like telekinetic powers and just blew people up like in rubber.
Whoa. Time out. How in the hell did you just tie Jurassic World to rubber? 3-star. 3-star. How did you just do that?
Because I'm that good with random knowledge.
Whoa. Whoa.
Yeah, but how many of your fans know what rubber is?
Oh, I'm sure some of them know what rubber is.
Some, maybe.
I have some very niche viewers in our listeners pool. I'm sure some of them know what rubber is. Guys, if you don't know what rubber is, it's about a psychotic tire that goes out and kills people with telekinetic powers and blows up their heads. Yeah.
Karen, if you have Netflix, watch it.
Okay.
Anyway, moving
it's
on.
Awful. You should probably have wine, like a whole bottle.
A whole bottle of it before watching it. Sounds good. Maybe we can get together and do that.
Yeah.
Moving on to our next Redux, which is Ant-Man.
Scott, I've been watching you for a while. You're different. And I believe everyone deserves a shot at redemption. Do you?
Absolutely. My days of breaking into places and stealing stuff
are over. What do you want me to do? I want you to break into a place and steal some stuff.
Makes sense.
Are you ready to become the hero?
I'm going to say I'm looking forward to this one as well. It revealed a lot more of the premise of what's going to be happening in the film, as well as who the main antagonist is, Yellow Jacket. And about that, for those people who don't know what Yellow Jacket is, just a little brief explanation. Yellow Jacket has been both a superhero and a villain in the past. Because Yellow Jacket is a role you fill. It's like Hank Pym was once Yellow Jacket before he was Ant-Man. It's kind of just an identity you can slip into, like Red Hood in the DC universe. Now, the original Yellow Jacket was Hank Pym, the first Ant-Man. It then moved on to Rita Damara, and then moved on to the one we have in this film, which is Darren Cross. Now, Darren Cross is, to my recollection, kind of like like Hammer Tech or Stark Industries. He's kind of like a weapons technology developer.
Okay.
And he wants to get his hands on this Ant-Man technology, and ends up doing so, and doesn't build the Ant-Man suit, he builds the Yellow Jacket suit.
Right.
And so this is kind of like the alternate version of the same technology.
Right.
Kind of like how we saw in Iron Man, we had the Iron Man suit and then the Titanium Man suit.
Right.
Yeah, same thing. Funny thing about this is, this ties into a movie we're going to talk about in a little bit. In the Ultimates universe, Yellow Jacket is actually Ultron. In that universe, Hank Pym invented Ultron, and when Ultron ultimately falls in love with Scarlet Witch, it takes over the suit of Yellow Jacket, and it becomes the new Yellow Jacket. So Ultron is both Ultron and Yellow Jacket at the same time. It's really weird. But I thought that was an interesting take on that. Also, in this trailer, am I the only one who laughed their ass off at the final scene of Thomas
Was
the
it
Tank?
Thomas the Train?
Thomas the Tank
that
Engine
was-
roaring
Oh my
down
God.
on Yellow Jacket?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That was awesome.
I'm looking at it, it's just like, choo-choo, motherfucker. Oh
Yeah.
my God. Thomas the Tank Engine taking out Yellow Jacket.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I love how they flash to like it's
The
like
tiny-
this hardcore
yeah, the tiny little
action
set,
scene.
yeah.
Yeah, that was so adorable.
So real, and then like, pink. It's like the
That was
the
so
little,
great.
Like 4-inch Thomas the Train.
No, I love that joke. I just hope they don't litter this movie with those, because that could get old in a hurry. But for this, that was funny. That was really good. We've also now heard 2 times them poking fun at the name Ant-Man.
Yes.
They poked fun of it in the original trailer, and they're poking fun of it in this trailer. And Yellow Jacket just stares at him. He's like, I know, it came with the suit. You know. That being said, any thoughts on this?
I thought it looked really cute and funny. I think I'd actually go see this possibly. Not like a really, it's not super serious, but serious enough. Just kind of like a fun superhero movie.
It's not super serial 3-star.
It's not super serial. It's just, it looks fun and just, like, just fun.
Okay, and that's great. Yeah, I kind of agree. Fangirl?
So when I saw it, I mean, I was always going to go see the movie. I still am. But when I saw it, I thought, I mean, I don't know the characters or anything, but I thought, I mean, and don't get me wrong, I love Paul Rudd, but I thought that it was a little flat. Like,
Really?
like every scene that we saw, like any kind of interaction that he had, I was like, I'm a little underwhelmed, like, by the delivery. And
Okay, I can see that. I can see that.
And I don't know if that's part of the character or just me not used to Paul Rudd being so subdued in what he's saying. And it might be the character, there's like a hint of, kind of like the Katniss character where it's there's a bit of
quirkiness
but at the same time
being unsure.
and
Right.
well, no, not that.
Oh.
The dryness of it.
Oh, okay, yes.
Yeah. And I think that might have been it. And that's probably what they were going with the character.
Okay.
So I think I need more to be
Okay.
able to really make a decision as to whether
That's
or
fair.
not, like,
That's fair.
about the delivery. But other than that, I think I'm really excited for the film. The Evangeline Lilly scene where he was just like, where she was teaching him how to punch. That was great. And I love Evangeline Lilly. So
I love her too.
Yeah. I
And-
mean, she's gorgeous.
But yeah, to finish up with Ant-Man, yeah, certainly looking forward to it.
Yes.
That's going to be the first Phase 3 film. Or actually, no, I take that back. It is actually the last Phase 2 film.
Oh, okay.
I thought everyone assumed that Age of Ultron was going to be the last Phase 2 film. But it turns out that Marvel said, no, it's going to be Ant-Man.
Huh.
Then after that, with Captain America Civil War, that's going to be the first Phase 3. Which is odd, but okay, sure. But moving on to our final redux, which is Star Wars.
The Force is strong in my family. My father has it. I have it. My sister has it. You have that power too.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, fangirl, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Somewhere the goddess is having...
I think Chewie right there just came out right there.
Somewhere the goddess is having a backasm. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Holy shit, this trailer. It was so good. And I know people are trying to say don't get too excited, but no, God, J.J. Abrams is doing it right.
Yeah.
He's doing it right. Okay, well, let's talk about this.
Yes.
Just the opening shot. The opening shot. You see
Breathe.
the
Okay, breathe.
Okay, you see
need to breathe between this.
You see the X-wing and the downed Star Destroyer in the Tatooine desert. It's beautiful. It is so beautiful. Just the imagery, the cinematography, the scope of it. It's so beautiful. And I've been saying it for years to people who have terribly tried to defend the prequels.
Yeah.
This is what was missing.
Yeah.
This, the grittiness, the realism, the practicality of this world.
Like, it really threw you back to the original Star Wars
people defended the prequels?
Paul does.
Yeah.
Paul.
I know. We're going to have that debate sometime.
Paul,
And even he says they're not the greatest things, but they're not the worst things either. And I'm like, no, they kind of are the worst things.
No,
Because, I mean, honestly, my argument is just going to be Hayden Christensen. That's it.
Well, he outright admits he hates a lot of the cast, but he likes the story. I know. We won't get into it. We'll have the debate sometime.
Okay.
But,
oh my God.
J.J. Abrams has said from the beginning, I want real sets. I want the real Millennium Falcon. I want real X-Wings, which is so good. There needs to be...
Because it's like the originals. They had to build things.
Not just that, but also for the actors to physically interact with them, to touch them, to feel them, to be able to
see them, to really actually give you that
the depth, the
reaction
feel,
shot.
exactly.
Yes.
The dirt, the grime of this world. Everything isn't just pretty. There needs to be grime. There needs to be grit. There needs to be,
not green
harshness.
screens.
There needs to be sand and blood. There needs to be that.
Yeah.
And
to quote John Legend, the perfect imperfections.
the perfect imperfections.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
And J.J. Abrams, God bless him, it looks like he's really trying to keep the practical effects. Now, let's be fair. There's still a decent amount of special effects in this. When you see the X-Wings flying and the TIE fighters going around, they're still all CG. But I've been saying from the beginning, a blending of the two is exactly what you need.
Yeah.
The original Star Wars series had a great blending of the two. They had a lot of... They still had the suits.
Yeah.
They still had the weapons. They still had the practical effects, but they still had plenty of special effects.
Yeah. They did.
With the
it
prequels,
was what they could do at the time, so they weren't as, we'll quote, high tech as we can do now. But they were good. They were awesome.
And then
into them.
By the time they did the prequels, they said, "Oh, look, we can do all this with a green screen." Well, just because you can do it with a green screen
doesn't mean you should.
And I think by episode 3, 98% of the film was shot on a green screen. I shit you not. 95 to 98% of the film had digitally enhanced effects or was shot on a green screen. That's embarrassing. There's nothing there. It's just the actors running around on a green screen for the entire movie.
Yep.
There's nothing to interact with besides themselves.
That's not acting.
Now, to be fair, 3-star, I mean, if you put 2 actors on a stage and there's nothing there, it's still acting. It's still a performance. But
yeah, but it's just not.
I know.
It's
but
subpar.
It's not the same.
Film is a visual medium. And if all of the visuals are not there, if we know that they've been injected by someone else, there's no life to it. It takes the soul out of the movie. And I've been saying, for the last few years, I love a film with all practical effects. But sometimes you need a blending of the two. And a perfect blending of the two is exactly what cinema needs. And it looks like J.J. Abrams is going for just that. A blending of the two.
Yeah.
Which I love. Now, getting off of the whole practical effects side, actually, I'm going to say one more thing about it. Did you know that the little ball droid, the little thing with it's a little ball with a little round disc on its head?
Top, yeah.
Its name is BB-8, and that is a practical effect. They built that, and they debuted it at the Star Wars Celebration this past weekend.
Oh, cool.
R2-D2 came out on stage. And then right behind him came BB-8.
Oh,
nice.
It is the most adorable little droid. And
that makes me excited.
They showed the technology that goes into it. And J.J. Abrams insisted that it be real.
Yeah.
So the actors can interact with it and they can get, practical shots with it. It has so many internal servos and magnets. It's like, this thing doesn't look like it should function in our world.
Right.
But it functions. It's like the magnets always tell it to keep, where it's pointed, the top little head will point in that direction. It can move around. It can stay stationary. It won't fall off itself. It's brilliant technology. I'm like, how did you make this?
Right.
And they're going to sell them. There's going to be toys of them.
Oh my god, there's going to be so many Star Wars toys out.
Oh my god, that thing is going to fly off the damn shelves.
Oh yeah.
That is such a cool little toy. Oh
and
my god.
bought up by people like us.
Oh my god. There's going to be so many
Christmas
BB-8s running around.
Oh my goodness.
It's Star Wars themed.
Yes.
Wait, what's that?
That's Christmas 2015. It's going to be Star Wars themed.
Oh yeah.
Everything's going to be Star Wars.
Get your Star Wars cereal, your Star Wars sheets.
Yep.
Everything.
Your Star Wars shower curtain, your Star Wars doormat. You got everything Star Wars.
Yep.
It's going to happen.
Oh my god, it's going to be like Spaceballs.
Pretty much.
Except Star Wars.
The Star Wars flamethrower. The kids love it.
Kids love it. Star Wars. Toilet paper. Star Wars. Everything.
So, a couple more points about this. We see several members of the main cast in this. We obviously hear Mark Hamill's voice. Mm-hmm. We hear him talking to someone. It's inferred that it's his child.
Yeah.
But we don't know.
Yeah.
It could just be another person who he discovered to be a Jedi and is taking them on to be...
I don't think so, because he's talking about family
He's talking
lineage.
about family, yes. So, it's inferring that he's talking to a family member.
Yeah.
But
but I think I remember reading some of the books, and Luke never got married.
No, he did. He did get married.
Did?
Yes.
Maybe I didn't read far enough into them.
He did.
I know Han and Leia got married.
Yes,
had
he
twins.
got married, but he never had children. But they don't know if they wrote that far. Now, yes, Han and Leia had kids. They had 3 kids. They had a set of twins and then a younger boy. They all could use the Force. So maybe he's training one of his nephews or nieces.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
So some kind of family member, I think.
Right. That's actually, and again, the expanded universe, which is now non-canon, the expanded universe gets really dark with the kids.
Oh, so the expanded universe is non-canon.
It's now non-canon.
Okay.
Because if they were doing that story, the story that would be happening right now is, yes, Luke would be basically restarting the Jedi Academy.
Okay.
Under his tutelage. He would be the head Jedi Knight, and he's trying to find the remaining Jedis across the universe to get them to train with him and start a new Order of the Jedi. And his first Padawans are Han and Leia's kids. And he ultimately fails one. One of them turns to the dark side and kills the other one. It's heartbreaking.
Whoa, what a spoiler.
Well, no, it's I'm just saying.
That's
You
not
forgot the
canon.
word spoiler for the books.
This is all non-canon. Well, the books have been out for 20 years now. Come on.
Spoiler for those who didn't make it that far in the books.
Well, I'm sorry. Maybe I shouldn't spoil Lord of the Rings either then.
No, I've read all those. You're okay with those.
Oh, okay.
We're okay with those. I know what happens.
Anyway, but what happens is, and I don't know if they got this far, but he ends up training the youngest child. Their youngest child is named Anakin. He is then trained to go out and hunt down the other twin, who's now turned to the dark side.
Right.
And that's a sad story.
Yeah.
But and another one, which I thought they were going to do for this, which I don't know if they do or not. It's led to believe that episode 7, if they were to ever make it, would be about Leia
This
possibly.
is episode 7.
Yeah, this is episode 7. But what I'm saying is, if they went with the expanded canon, the expanded stories, here's what would have happened. Leia would have presumably been killed by a cloned version of the Emperor, and Luke turns to the dark side. He doesn't stay to the dark side for long, but the loss of Leia is too much for him to take, and he turns to the dark side for a while. Then when he realizes that she's alive, she has to try and bring him back because he's too far gone. He's like, oh, I'm happy you're alive, but now I'm like addicted to the dark side, and I can't get out of it. And then she has to try and bring him back. That would be a great story, but I don't know if that's what they're doing with this. I don't think they are.
Don't think so.
No. Few things to point out about this. One, I did discover that the chrome stormtrooper you see in this, the silver stormtrooper, that's Brienne from Game of Thrones. Now, Brienne is one of the more badass female characters in all of television right now. She's a really cool character, and she's a monster. She is huge. I think that actress is like 6'5", 6'6", and she just beats the shit out of every guy she meets. She is amazing. She is such a cool character. And it's revealed that she is the Chrome Stormtrooper. And I was like, fucking yes. I cannot wait to see her in this movie. Also, am I the only one? Because, of course, at the end of the trailer, we see Han and Chewie, which is great. But am I the only one weirded out by the fact that Han has aged and gone gray and Chewie looks younger? Seriously, look at the makeup on Chewie compared to back in like the late 80s, or like I say late 70s,
He was
early
kind
80s.
of like gruffier.
He was gruffier. He looks clean in this.
He does. You're right.
Chewie
Just
has
went for
reverse
pedicure,
age.
manicure,
Like,
shampoo.
Right, I'm thinking like, okay, we should see like a graying, dirtier Chewie, which would be great.
That would be awesome. That would have been awesome.
but
he looks younger.
Do Wookiees gray? Do Wookiees go gray?
But well, we don't know. But he should be showing some signs
of
age.
aging.
We don't know. It's like what do Wookiees do when they age? Well, they certainly shouldn't look younger. I don't know.
Do they live longer?
I do think they live longer.
Maybe.
But I don't know. I don't know. That seemed
Maybe
odd
it's
to
like
me.
the Curious Case of Benjamin Button.
Yeah.
Well, we've seen baby Wookiees before. We've seen kid Wookiees. So
Yeah.
I don't think that's what happens. We've also seen old Wookiees before. They look old and grizzled, and they actually go gray. And we saw that in episode 3, I think. And we've seen them in different colors. They're black, they're gray, they're brown. Some are like an orange color. You know, they all have these different colors. So I'm pretty sure they can go gray.
Yeah, they should look older for sure. Like,
Fangirl just pulled up a picture of them, and there's like 2 or 3 in there that look like they have like gray beards going.
yeah.
So, yeah, they should be aging. So why does Chewie look so good? It's confusing for me. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love seeing him.
Yeah.
But he shouldn't look so good.
Yeah.
He should be aging a bit. He should be looking a little more like Han.
Yeah.
But anyway, apart from that, I cannot be looking forward to this anymore.
Yeah.
This trailer was amazing. I cannot wait for the full trailer. I mean, this wasn't even the full trailer. This is still a teaser.
Yeah.
Because it didn't reveal any plot points. All we got was the voiceover and a few action scenes.
Yeah.
But even those...
Like, there was really nothing. Like,
Right.
it didn't really tell us
Right.
anything. There was no information. It was just kind of like,
Right. Oh, I'm so hyped. I
Yeah.
am so hyped. This... I pray this is good. I mean, I don't want to get high expectations because I feel like if I get high expectations, it won't live up to them.
But
But
I
that's
almost
true because 1, 2, 3 had high expectations, And then
Yeah.
And then that happened.
That happened, yeah.
That
and then
happened.
1, 2, 3 happened.
But I mean, I think this is a good balance in a way where we have, you know, the prequels 1, 2, 3 to remind us that how things could go sour really quickly. But at the same time, I have trust in J.J. Abrams
Right.
that, you know, it's probably not going to be at least as bad as that. So
Right.
I think
Yeah,
we've got,
and then he's going to do a good job.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
I think we are going to be okay at least.
I would agree.
So-
There hasn't been a J.J. Abrams film yet that I outright hated.
Yeah.
They've all been good or decent.
Yeah. And
So at the very least, this will be a decent film, and compared to the prequels, I will take that.
and everything he's done in television as well has also been amazing.
Right.
So I have trust and faith. It's just kind of like when Joss Whedon picked up the Avengers movie, I had trust and I had faith, and I think
he made a great product.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think this is what we're going to be banking on.
Oh, one last thing. Actually, I should have brought this up in movie news. We'll touch on this real quick. It has to do with Star Wars. At the Star Wars Celebration this past weekend, there was a quick little teaser. It hasn't been officially released because they actually haven't even started shooting footage for it yet. They just mocked it up real quick. They officially teased the first Star Wars spin-off film, which is not going to be Star Wars 8. It's called Star Wars Rogue One.
Okay.
Star Wars Rogue One is the story of the beginning of the Rebel Alliance. And they don't have Jedis. They don't have anyone who can really protect them. It's really just a ragtag band of of just a few rebels trying to fight the Empire. And just the teaser looked amazing. Now,
Just hearing about you saying it sounds amazing.
again, there hasn't been an official release for this yet. They start filming this summer, and it'll be released next summer.
So it's basically like kind of a fill-in between 3 and 4.
Yes. They've actually kind of already told this story in a game called Star Wars Unleashed. In that game, you meet a character called Starkiller and how he kind of helps form the Rebel Alliance. I'm assuming that's now non-canon. Because in this, what you see is some distant planet, and you hear Obi-Wan talking. He has his speech from the first A New Hope. And he says, for over 1,000 years, the Jedi's protected the Old Republic, before the Dark Times, before the Empire. And as this camera slowly pans up on this planet, you see, this big other moon coming up over the horizon. But that's no moon. That's a space station. And you just see this Death Star rising over the planet, and it's fucking huge.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my god! Like, can you imagine the rebels seeing this for the first time?
Man.
And you're just like, oh my god, the rebels are fucked.
Yeah, basically that's what I would say. Be like, I'm so screwed.
I know, and it's about this tiny rebel band of misfits getting together for the first time and trying to fight the Empire and probably failing. And it probably won't lead directly into what happens at the beginning of episode 4.
Right.
I don't think they'll do that. Like, you won't see the blockade runner, which I think it was called. You won't see that, which is what Princess Leia was on.
Right.
You're not going to see that, but you'll see the first army coming together trying to fight the Empire and probably getting their ass kicked nonstop.
Yeah.
But I still want to see that story.
That sounds amazing.
That sounds really, really good. Yeah. So, power to you guys. Everyone's like, oh, they're going to make way too many Star Wars films. I said,
I don't think
are you complaining about too much Star Wars?
Yeah.
Are you really doing that?
Why?
Because you need to shut the hell up right now. Anyway, moving on to our feature presentations. Now, there's only 3 this week because I'm pretty sure
no one wants to compete.
no one wants to compete with the last one, what we're going to talk about.
Yep.
Now, coming out this coming week, we do have The Age of Adeline, which we actually never talked about.
The one with Blake Lively?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and this is about the woman who gets struck by a bolt of lightning or has some sort of accident, and then she never ages.
Yes.
This looks like something that Nicholas Sparks wrote. I don't think he did, but this is the kind of story. It's like, oh, I don't age. I don't have problems anymore. But look at all the problems I have. Oh my God. It's so silly. It's so fucking silly. It's like, oh, well, and like, I think Harrison Ford is actually like her aged husband at one point.
Yeah.
And I'm like, even if you're not aging, fucking go back to Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
What the hell are you doing? No, I'm not looking forward to this.
So actually, The Age of Adeline, kind of looking at the pre-screening stuff.
Okay. Yep.
It's been rated pretty well. On IMDb, it's a 7.6 out of 10, and on Rotten Tomatoes, it's an 83%.
It's not bad.
Yeah. So
early press tends to lean good, but still, for early press, that's okay.
Yeah, and I mean, I think I saw the trailer for this.
We just never discussed it. We couldn't find the time to.
I mean, I'm not interested in it in any way, really, but
right.
It's a movie.
It's a thing. It exists. That's going to be our third tagline for this podcast. It's a thing. It exists.
Yeah.
3-star?
Yes.
Any thoughts on this?
No.
No, nothing. Okay, fair enough.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, there's been very little advertising for it. I mean, it's just kind of a passable. You know what it is? Right now, when you look at the movies we have out, we have Furious 7.
Yeah.
Paul Blart 2. Ugh.
And
oh
3.
My God. When I was like, wait, they made a second one?
Yeah,
the first one did well enough to make a second one?
We're not talking. No, don't stop. We're not talking about it. The less press it gets, the better. We're not talking about it.
Okay, done.
As well as, some of the bigger ones have come out over the last few weeks. All of them have been either like comedy or action. There hasn't been the real, well, with the exception of The Longest Ride, there hasn't really been any like romantic films or romantic comedies, So this isn't a comedy, but this is a drama romance.
Yeah.
And
there has been a lot fewer good romantic comedies.
Right.
Like, I mean, I know that a lot of people would argue when you say that there are never any good romantic
No.
comedies.
I wouldn't say that. There's still an art to it, and you can make a good one.
Yeah, and
just last week I was talking about how The Proposal was pretty good.
It's one of my favorite movies.
I know you love it. I didn't outright love it, but I thought it was good. It was passable for a romantic comedy.
And it was super cute. And it's Sandra Bullock, but that's not the
point. Again, but there's still an art to it. There's even though it's cliche, there's still something to do with it.
Yeah.
There's a rite of passage to making those kind of movies, and you can still do them right.
Yeah, but there haven't been a good one that's come out lately. I don't think.
No, I can't think of one in recent memory.
So
I mean, not that I see them, but I can't think of one in recent memory that's even come out or that got good reviews.
Exactly,
so.
But I think that's also because, as you said, the trend of the movies that we're seeing are comedy and action films, or comedy action,
right?
But kind of like the romantic comedy stuff is kind of
gone the wayside.
Yeah. So
I don't know.
It's interesting.
That is interesting, but and moving on to our next feature presentation, which is Little Boy. Now, we talked about this months ago, but we did talk about it. Sadly, cannot recall the majority of the cast in this. Are you going to pull it up for me?
Yeah.
There's a couple big names in it. Oh, yeah, Kevin James is in it. Yeah.
David Henry or David Henry. I don't know if he's French or not. Emily Watson.
Yep.
Tom Wilkinson.
Tom Wilkinson. That's the name I was spacing on. I love Tom Wilkinson.
Yeah.
Those are the only notable ones I want to remember. But this is a film about obviously a little boy who, and his father being shipped off to war. I don't know if it's the Korean War or World War II.
World War II.
It is World War II.
Yeah.
Okay. And this boy has a lot of self-confidence problems. And the father always tells him, if you believe you can do it, you can do it. You just have to say, I believe I can do it. And so they have a lot of, weird imagination adventures, like they're out at sea and they're pirates, and it's cute what they're doing with the father and the son, but then the father is shipped off to war. Well, in the trailer, you see like this magician come to town, And he tells the little boy, if you believe you can move that bottle, you can do it. And the boy moves the bottle across the table. And obviously it's a magician's trick, but the boy starts to believe that
he can do
he can do these things. Here's where the message of the movie gets a little screw with me. If it was just about this boy having faith in his father and, willing him home and stuff like that, it would be simple enough and it would be fine.
Yeah.
But now what it's turned into and what's been revealed in recent weeks is this is about faith. Specifically, Christian faith. Tom Wilkinson plays a priest and says to him, if you have even a shred of doubt in your faith, you can't do the things you want to do. And so it's about the boy going out and like his brother saying to him, you really think you can bring dad home? Or do you think you can do this, do that? And the boy says, well, I can move mountains with my faith. And he says, oh yeah, move that mountain. And the boy raises up his arms and the mountain actually moves and there's a massive earthquake. I shit you not, that's what happens in this movie. So it's about this little boy who has enough faith to apparently will his father home. And it's all done through Christianity. Now, when I first talked about this, I remember the goddess saying, well, it doesn't outright say it's about Christianity. But I'm almost certain Tom Wilkinson's playing a priest, and in recent weeks they've been bringing up faith an awful lot in this trailer and in these previews. So if it's not about Christianity, I'd be shocked.
I mean, it could be just about his faith in his own ability.
It could, but I'd be shocked if it was doing that, especially considering that he's talking to a priest.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Like, I would like that. I would like to think that that's not what it is, and I would like to think that it's about something deeper than that. Like, I mean, not to say that, because I believe faith is something that people should have.
Oh, and and let's be fair here. We're not saying just because this is a film that's possibly about Christianity or religion in of itself that makes it bad.
Right.
We're not saying that at all. What I'm saying is you can have these messages, you can have these themes, and it doesn't have to tie into Christianity.
Yeah.
You don't have to force that down people's throats.
Yes.
And like that's coming up more and more often. Films are doing this. They're having these themes not because that's what the story entails, but because they're going to get more people into the seats because of it.
I should make a movie about Chinese religion.
It'd be popular in China.
No, I doubt it. I probably wouldn't do it justice.
I don't know. I'm not looking forward to this. There's been very little press for it. I've seen a couple trailers in some movies I've seen recently, but no, very little press, and this is not something I really want to see.
Nope.
I mean,
let's get to the next one then.
Plus child actors. So.
I'm excited for the next one.
So, our final feature presentation, which oddly enough, well, I shouldn't even say oddly enough, it is the only movie getting a nationwide release that weekend. There are other films coming out, but none of them are getting a nationwide release. This is the only one, which is Avengers: Age of Ultron. Oh boy, it's happening. Boy, the hype for this one has been years coming. Oh my gosh. Even before Avengers came out, people were talking about this one. Because they didn't know if it was going to be Thanos, if it was going to be Ultron, if they're going to go Infinity War. They didn't know. When it was announced, a year and a half, 2 years ago, this is what they're going to do, people got amped. They're like, oh boy, we're going to see Ultron. And oh my god, I cannot wait to see this.
Yeah.
Every new trailer, every new preview, every new TV spot has gotten better and better. And now I've actually seen a couple clips from the movie. They actually released the first minute of the fight scene between the Hulk and the Hulkbuster. And that fight is great. It actually, I don't want to spoil anything. They revealed why they're fighting. And I'm like, wow, okay. So it's intriguing what they're going to be doing in this. Of course, in this, we're introducing the two new Avengers, which is Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, and how they're going to tie into the greater Avengers universe, and as well as with Ultron in this movie. And that little clip explains a little bit of that. I'm so amped for this. This looks so incredibly good, and I hope this lives up to my standards. I really hope it lives up to the hype.
Yeah, sorry. I'm actually, the reason why I'm not really talking that much is because I'm actually looking up tickets and movie tickets to go see it.
That's how excited you are. You're buying your tickets on the podcast.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm just like, oh my god, I need to see this.
Oh,
Good
boy.
advertising right there.
Yeah, I am going to see it the day it comes out.
I'm gonna see it soon after. I usually don't go for opening day,
Yeah.
just because I can't stand that packed of a crowd.
but-
But I'll see it opening weekend.
But see, I'm going to see it opening day. I'm not going to see it midnight showing. See, I have the time
You
to
have
see it during the day.
And that's fine.
And that's
You
what
can
I'm
do
going to
that.
do.
I'm
so excited!
I could do a midnight show.
Yeah.
I would. Midnight shows usually aren't that packed. For this, it might be packed.
It will be.
But
you kidding me?
But even so, that's like the hardcore crowd that knows what's going on.
Yeah.
Like they're into everything, and they're usually not talking. Like if you go in on a Friday night on an opening weekend, you're just gonna get people on cell phones chatting and texting.
Why?
Oh my God, that's terrible.
Awful.
But on the midnight shows, it's the people who are there because they
wanna
love
be
it
there, yeah.
and because they
Yeah.
hope it's good, and they are focused on every second of the film.
I'm-
And if someone texts, someone calls them out on it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I'm
I went to
hoping-
2 midnight showings for Harry Potter.
Oh,
People
yeah.
were reading the book before the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
And then the preview started. They just closed their book, put everything away, and it was like eyes on the screen. 'Cause
Yep.
I'm not missing anything.
Oh, yeah.
That's what these people were doing.
I
And I was like,
dressed-
Run through the line. Snape kills Dumbledore. Run.
oh god.
I'm pretty
And
sure
they're just
I
running and be
dressed
like,
up.
He dies.
I'm pretty sure I dressed up for the showing of Harry Potter.
But yeah, there's not much to say about this. You guys have seen the TV spots. You've seen the trailers. There is not much to say about it other than
Just go watch it.
go watch it. I mean, the first Avengers was good. It was really, really good.
Really,
Hulk
really, really
smash.
All right. Now, as a prerequisite to seeing this, Winter Soldier is going to need to be seen.
Yeah.
Oh, I just saw that.
It's
And what'd you think?
It was pretty good.
It was phenomenal.
I got nothing done because
Here's
I
the
got
thing.
sucked into it.
The goddess hasn't seen the first Captain America or Winter Soldier yet, so she has to get caught up on both. She saw Avengers without seeing the first Captain America, but that was okay. That's fine.
But you
Yeah,
should,
but it would have made more sense.
It
if you
would
would've
have.
seen some of the other ones.
Right, right.
but Winter Soldier was just bloody amazing.
Right, and there are so many things that happen in Winter Soldier that's going to tie into not only to this movie, but the greater Marvel universe that they're making, the cinematic universe. So
I need to go back and watch
What was
that
funny is I
again.
couldn't remember the dude's name. I was like, he knows him. Like that first time
Oh,
he saw him,
Bucky.
I'm like,
Bucky?
Yeah,
you don't
Bucky.
see his face for a reason.
Yep.
I was like, I don't know who it is, but Captain America knows who it is.
Winter Soldiers definitely needed to see.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Dark World, because only
That was the Thor one, right?
yes, but
the second
Thor.
but only because I don't know if they're going to be tying in the Infinity Gems yet. I don't know. Guardians of the Galaxy probably not.
Yeah.
No.
But
Iron Man.
but I would
Iron Man
recommend
3. Yes, I would say Iron Man 3.
Yeah,
yes.
I think definitely Iron
Yes.
Man 3. And but either way though, I would still, if you haven't seen Guardians of the Galaxy, I recommend you go see that anyway.
Oh no! Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. No,
Yeah.
phenomenal movie. Go see it.
Yeah. It's like if you haven't seen it, you should just see it
What are you
anyway.
doing?
Yeah.
I believe it was actually revealed by James Gunn that even Guardians of the Galaxy 2 isn't going to be really tying that much into the cinematic universe, which it doesn't have to.
No.
I mean, it ties in loosely with a couple things here or there, but it doesn't have to directly reference it.
No.
Um,
And I think that's fine. Like
well, that is fine.
it's a pretty standalone film.
Right, it is.
It's okay.
So see Iron Man 3, see Winter Soldier. That's probably all you have to see before you go into Avengers: Age of Ultron.
And and
I mean,
and
if
if you have the time, see Dark World too.
Oh yeah, not to say that Dark World is a bad movie. It was okay.
It wasn't
but
great.
It was one of the lower ones of the cinematic universe. And,
I mean, but Tom Hiddleston
but Tom Hiddleston
was really good in that. Like, I mean, I was on a roller coaster of emotions for that movie because of Tom Hiddleston.
I know.
So.
I was with you in that.
Oh right, yeah. Oh my goodness, I was like.
I know you were a wreck.
I was. Oh my goodness.
But yeah, really looking forward to this.
Yeah.
Well, we have talked enough, guys. We're going to let you go. But one last thing before we leave you. A few weeks ago, we had mentioned on asking you guys on whether or not you would look forward to a particular remake or not if it had a particular cast, a particular director, or a particular theme. What we would like you guys to do in the coming weeks is, and respond to this question, what remake would you like? Why would you like it? And who would you have in it? Because as we were discussing a while back, the one remake we might look forward to is a remake of Face Off, and it would star Chris Tucker and who was the other one who's been in a lot of movies recently?
Chris Tucker and Kevin Hart.
Is
that what we said? I think I could go back to the.
I think we need to go back
the
and say what it
podcast
was
to see it.
I'm almost certain it was Kevin Hart. Well, the fans will correct us.
Yeah,
but,
if we got our own,
right, but I'm
recommendations
almost
on 'em.
because we said we needed two big over actors as these roles.
Yes.
So we said Face Off with Chris Tucker and Kevin Hart. That would be probably pretty amazing.
Yeah, and the bringing back John Woo for that too.
Yeah, bring back John Woo as the director. Yeah. So, guys, since we talk about remakes almost every week now on this podcast, let us know, which remake would you like to see? We mentioned earlier that The Entity is probably going to be a piece of shit, but if there is a horror remake you'd want to see, or if there's a fantasy remake or a science fiction remake or anything really, anything you'd like to see remade from any genre, and who would you like in it? And who would you want the director to be? And anything else involving the remake in general. Tell us what you think.
Yeah.
And respond in the comments, either on YouTube, on Podomatic, or even on Facebook if you want to. Respond any way you want, and then we will talk about those on the next podcast.
Yeah. And if there are any remakes that you would want us to cast, or to put our own directors in, just let us know, and we'll do our best.
Oh, sure, we can do that too.
Yeah.
Certainly.
It'll be fun. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yep. So, I want to thank the sociopathic fangirl for coming by.
I'm just all smiles, aren't I?
Yeah, it was a good week. I also want to thank 3-Star Sapphire for joining us.
Yay!
Hopefully next time we'll actually have you here. Maybe. If I lose my bad breath and my leprosy, we'll see what happens.
I thought you were about to say if you lost your Brad Pitt. I'm just like,
my
what?
Brad Pitt. But I, once again, am the Projectionist. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Have a very good night, and take care.
Bye.
Bye.